Welcome on in to the Antiperfectionist Podcast. Hope you guys are all doing swimmingly today. Of course, we got our lovely co-host here, Eyes. Eyes, how you
Hey,
doing
how's it?
today?
I'm all right. I hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. If you guys do not know me, I am Eyes. I am a music producer and streamer on Twitch over at twitch.tv/III the artist. Been producing for about 18 years, and it's just a good place to hang out, maybe learn about music, and just have a good time. So I put my socials in the Twitch chat, but they will also be in the YouTube link down below. And we have a special guest. I'll let you take it on over to him. Looking forward to a good show.
All right. And our special guest that we have tonight is the lovely Mr. Soundbites, a great musical producer and Twitch streamer as well. So, Soundbites, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yo, what's up, all? Can y'all hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Rock solid, dude.
I just subscribed. I don't want to get an ad.
Well, thanks for subbing to Prominent.
Yes,
Yo,
I appreciate the subs.
I should have resubbed it. My sub ended, so.
You're all good. Who are you and what do you do? What do you do? What's a good nutshell of?
Well, my name's Nick. You can call me Nick. I don't know if you guys knew that, but
I do now.
yeah. I'll probably release the last name soon because I got music on the other, on my other Spotify under my real name. It's all my scores and stuff like that. But yeah, so Soundbites, I'm a recording audio engineer, and I Twitch stream, and I'm really looking to take it up full time once the kids are completely in school. But pretty much do music and audio full time, and got into streaming January 2023, and
Same.
I'm freaking addicted. Oh, really?
Yeah, same for me.
I thought you've been streaming longer than me. Huh.
No, like I found you whenever I was starting too, and I was like, oh, what? Okay, another homie with who does music, and we're at a similar
I remember that day.
follower view count, so like it's gonna be cool to get to know somebody. You know?
Absolutely.
And man, life has been better ever since. So
Yeah. I remember that day when we first met. It was blissful. I think I
Yeah.
was streaming a game, even like Mass Effect. Maybe I was. I don't know.
if I recall, you were doing music.
Was I? Okay.
Yeah, because I was at that point. I actually typically tend to try to find other music streamers when I'm trying to find new people.
Yeah, same.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. It's great seeing a lot of production, but we're like kind of like, I say this a lot, but we're like kind of low, like on the totem pole of music streamers. We're like on the bottom. I feel like music production.
It's on the thinner side for sure.
Right. You know what I mean? Not
Oh,
that
yeah,
it's like
that's for
no
sure.
value's been placed in it, but I feel like as a viewer, a lot of people want to be entertained with covers or DJ sets, or if you're like T-Pain or Soldier Boy, you can produce music and you're gonna get people, or even like Dead Mouse.
Yeah.
The
Listen
Drop
to
Dead
Dead Mouse,
Murphys.
man.
The Dropkick Murphys were actually streamers. I noticed until I think they lost one of their.
Wait, really? For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had no idea. I think Dropkick Okay, no. I was thinking Flogging Molly was, I think, the first concert I'd ever seen a band live.
Oh wow.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I love streaming. It's so fun. It's like
It really is. Like
I
have a
love
great
it
time.
too.
it's the
I
best
guess-
application of music that I've ever, like, sharing music on Instagram and Facebook for all these years. You only reach one, maybe two people, especially Facebook. And I've been able to reach a lot more people through Twitch, so that was.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I have tried a career in music multiple times. I'm pretty young, so my mindset has, I feel, finally gotten onto a reasonable expectation of what it actually takes to get to where you want to be. And it's not doing it alone. It's not, you do have to build a community and help others grow as well. So, but I have found that Twitch has been the most engaging way I've ever been able to do that so far. It's kind of amazing.
Right. And you're building your communities I've noticed this. I do my homework on it, on like how people, their processes and whatnot. And I've noticed, like with you guys, your community, the way you've been building it, is a lot of kind of post stream or inter stream work on Discord. Where everybody's kind of after the party, they go on Discord and you guys continue to collaborate and
Yeah, I love it,
post
man.
threads.
Everybody still talks to each other and stuff like that.
That's
Yeah.
Everybody gets along great.
I
Uh,
eventually want to get to that point, but I just never have the time to go
and
on it.
I thank you guys for doing that too. I thank you guys for keeping the Discord alive, because it's not always the easiest thing to do, and you can't really ask people to do it. It's just it
Mhm.
does take time. That's for sure. But I mean, I'm so thankful that I'm starting to see more people just talk, and my role is to be as involved as well. Instead
Did
of
you guys build your? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
go ahead.
Did you guys build your Discord communities prior to joining Twitch?
No,
No.
I when I came into Twitch, I wasn't going to build a Discord community until I hit, I think, 500 followers, and then people were really clamoring for it. And Prominent was there, so he remembers the days
Oh yeah.
too. And when
Like,
it finally
right around
happened,
when you started. Like,
when it finally happened, so many people were just so ecstatic about it, and it was just continue to grow from there.
yeah, literally people like
Yeah.
bomb rushed in there, and then it still continues to grow quickly. Like, we got a
Yep.
good amount of members in there now, and it's mind blowing every time I go in there.
Oh, what's great about it is, for me, is I think people have been in the community for so long that when a new follower comes in, I'm always encouraging people to welcome the new follower. Same thing with
Oh, yeah.
Discord. It's like people are starting to, thankfully, naturally want to get to know new people coming in to the Discords, to the streams, and just creating an even better community. So it's something I'm really proud of everybody in the community.
I am too, honestly.
Yeah, it's really great seeing everybody grow, including growing myself. It's a learning curve, and I always thought like doing two things at once. Like I definitely was writing music before I was streaming, and it was more thorough. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I really can't. I don't have enough like. I know that like streaming and just audio and video and getting everything right. There's just so many, caveats and nuances to streaming, and doing music at the same time. But it almost like the effects of taking away from maybe a full mix session without any distractions, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I can mix faster without the distractions, but I'm also like more likely to write music now when I'm streaming. It's almost like just by virtue of streaming, I'm being held accountable to continually do this stuff.
Yeah.
So in a way, it kind of outweighs the work I was doing prior, because now I'm being held accountable. So even though I'm being distracted in my process, it's more or less still like faster and compared to what I used to do.
Because you're
funny.
sticking to it so consistently.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You got to schedule like a 9 to 5 or whatever it is for me and you guys. Like your stream schedules,
Yeah.
and it's just like you're packing so much into that time slot. It really helps. One, time management. It helps. I'm not a big fan of multitasking. I'm more of a do things in chunks of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Dude.
you know what I mean.
That's actually very huge. I've recommended that to people with music production, because it is a mountain to get a song done. It's mixing, mastering, all that stuff is such a mountain. Or they just doing comps, takes, repetitive stuff. I'd always tend to recommend to people, like, just take 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes out of every day, you'll be surprised about how far the song gets in that amount of time.
Yeah, because when you literally time yourself, give yourself like 20 minutes to work on something, then take a 10-minute break and just do that back and forth. You're going to get a lot more done, because this 20 minutes, you're going to be, all right, let me try to get this much done in this little amount of time, It's going to cause you to be more productive and try to squeeze in as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's just kind of along the line of, you know, maybe this is a controversial take, but a lot of people say I don't have time. But really,
It's about prioritizing the
the
time.
thing is about you make time. You
Right.
make
Yeah.
time. You understand where there are gaps in your time, and you stay disciplined to a routine. It's not easy,
Exactly.
but you're gonna grow tremendously from it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just to bounce off that, like when I was a parent, that's when the time crunch really started to uh like, oh man, I have
Disappear,
2 hours.
or
Great.
like
I have
really
2 hours. I could do so
elevate.
much in 2 hours. I can clean the house in a half hour. I can get dinner ready the other half hour. Then the last hour I got like I can go master something, you know, like
Yeah,
in and out. Like and that's
I mean,
I don't
ask
really
Bordy.
like Bordy, what's up with Bordy? That's how he is. Yeah.
He's a dad too. I mean,
Oh
he's trying to
yeah.
balance. He's trying to
Yeah.
balance all this stuff.
Yeah, he's got his
Yeah.
schedule going on, and he's tackling it real well, honestly.
Yeah, and he's got a Stanley Cup too, you know?
Uh,
The self promotion.
the Stanley Cup thing.
The stay-at-home parent drink of or receptacle of choice.
What's good is I hop in your stream and I'm like, yeah, the Stanley Cup. I don't really know much about it, but I use Yeti. You're like, oh,
Yeti.
Yeti's so good. It's the tank, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I'm
Bears
not...
can't even break into your water, man.
I love
Bears.
the Yeti. I love the Yeti. So prominent.
Yes.
Let's hand it over to you. What do you want to discuss real quick? Because it's like you've been a little quiet because we haven't given a lot of gaps. So make sure that you get something in there.
No, I understand. I did have a question for Soundbites. I just wanted to simply ask, like, what was it that got you into music production in the first place? Like, what was it that made you think, like, okay, I want to start making my own type of music, like your inspirations, things of the sort?
I've been making music since I was a kid, and I grew up in a kind of lower middle class family. At the time, I guess it was, yeah. So we had like a grand piano in the house and stuff like that. So a bouzouki, some classical guitars. So whenever I had a chance, I would just noodle around on the guitars and play. I still remember my first song I ever made on piano, which I actually want to record. It's funny. It's all C, fifth chords. It's real simple. 4/4 timing, real simple. And I always just like composing ideas when I was a kid. My dad one time, he was a sound sound mixer for a motion picture business. So he would come home and he would, solder microphone cables in the garage, and I'd go, check it out and watch him work, and did a few gigs with him when I was younger. And he would bring home interesting stuff, like gear-wise, like Mackie consoles or samplers, like some of the earlier samplers, like the Roland JS30. And that's when I started sampling. It was like, wow. So I started sampling Disney music, of all things, because I had a lot of Disney movies. And I at some point, it was before even DVDs, I think I was like recording from VHS to the sampler.
The VHS days.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the VHS machine. Because I have all those Disney movies are on VHS. Now they're relics. And so I would do sampling of a lot of Disney and a lot of Vivaldi, like Winter. I don't know if you guys heard Vivaldi's Winter.
I might have. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, you probably have if you've watched TV. Like you know what I mean? It's in every single commercial, like Folgers, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's like they play that music all the time where you don't even realize it. But yeah, Winter was a real fun one to sample when I was younger, and so I kind of gradually got into gear. Like I bought my next sampler, the Roland MC505, and then a groove box, the MC808. Was it something like that? Not the 808, it's the MC505 groove box, and then the SP808 sampling workstation. And that's when I started, messing around with like Logic, and it just kind of grew and grew and grew and grew to something that I always did. Despite any career that I ever had, I always had
just like music corner on the side, basically.
Yeah, always. It was just like, so I got into arranging things. I wasn't really particularly good at playing anything. I had a good vocal range, but like as you guys can see, the many takes I do and the minimal stuff I do with the guitars, and I play acoustic guitar. You know, that was like kind of like the Northridge earthquake was kind of the point where I started really writing music. So after
Right.
the earthquake, we had nothing to do, and so the house was torn to bits, and I just had the acoustic guitar. So that, you know, I wrote my first guitar song, which was called Green Pool, and it was a depressing song about not being able to go swimming in my swimming pool because it was full of green algae from.
Oh man.
And this was
Oh
like post
man.
earthquake, so nobody could swim in their
Oh.
pools after the earthquake. So I got into rollerblading and started skating in pools. You know what I mean? Just going into abandoned homes and shit, and skating in empty pools. That was fun, but
Mhm.
broke my wrist. And yeah, I remember that day. I went home. My mom was like, "It's not broken." So for like a whole week, I got a broken wrist, and the school nurse is like, "Yo, your wrist is broken."
Yeah, I've been told it's kind of hard to spot. I've been told it's kind of hard to spot. I think a broken wrist.
Not when your wrist looks like this.
Oh, yours is that bad?
Oh, yours was like
Man.
fucked up. Like,
Except the other way. I
oh
can't even do it
man.
that way. It's like gotta be double
regarding
jointed in order for that to happen.
Right.
regarding the sampling or the samplers on a lot of the gear that you've had, it kind of just makes me think a little bit about how it translates over to what your current setup is. It's very analog, which is
Oh
cool,
yeah.
which is awesome. And I don't have a lot of experience with analog, but
I
I do
don't either.
remember a time, and I'm actually curious as to what your thoughts are on this because
Mhm.
I was set in stone on this thought that I used to make music on my dad's synthesizer and Sonic TS10,
Oh, sick.
TS12, and I
Yeah.
remember computers starting. I started hearing the word about computers, having the ability to make music, and I always scoffed at it. I was like, "That's a joke. It's a computer. You can't do that stuff on there." And then whenever I found out that my idol at some point later in my life, my idol at the time was Skrillex, and I was like, he's making music on a laptop. What?
Oh,
What
yeah.
is the program? What is it? I was told it was Ableton, and then I just some sort of threw that old school idea out the window, and I was like, no, computers are where it is. Now, were you ever at that point, because you're such an analog artist, did you ever see it as computers can never do this type of stuff? You need analog,
So
Or
I
was
or
it always
grew
something
up
that made you
with
change
my dad's
perspective?
gear. My dad grew up like so. I was the analog. Grew up analog, and then because my dad had like what's called a Nagra. It's like a reel to reel. It was what they would record. Not many
like they
multiple
were
tracks.
they were the big plastic with the
Yeah, they had
cassette
like
reel, right?
it was like actually not even. It was like
It was a big box,
it was a box like this big, and it
and
had
they
two reels on the top. It was heavy. It's still like expensive. You can still buy it, like they're like 5Gs or 3Gs still, like they're expensive. But I saw the shift between my dad, like basically mixing audio, which you had to
oh
ride the
my,
faders in those days,
oh
especially with
man,
dialogue.
yeah,
And that was just
yeah.
like, first of all, carpal tunnel, right? And so,
Automation is
oh my God.
everything.
And even digital's like when you record to digital, it's that you don't move, you don't touch the fader, like it's it.
Real quick, and for those of you who may be
Mhm.
listening or watching who don't know what riding the faders means, usually if you need to turn something up in a song that's really quiet and then turn something down where it gets really high, you have to do that at precise moments and listen to the song multiple times. Now, when we say automation, now with computer software, you can just draw that line in, or even use things like compressors to really do
Sweet.
all of that work for you.
Mhm.
So anyway, back to what you were saying. Sorry, just
Oh no, no. Yeah, you're right. And so I saw the shift between and it really affected people like of that generation of sound mixers because they had to like understand, wow, I don't have to do anything now. I'm just recording digital. It just has to not, go to -12 basically. And you always like when you're doing dialogue now, you have a backup track and that's recorded maybe a little bit lower than -12. So there's two, depending on your setup. So they didn't understand that. It was like hard to kind of grasp it because digital is actually harder than analog. It's harder to learn. It's more.
Is it?
It's not as forgiving. So
I can kind of see that because analog, you're limited to a certain amount of physical things. Where
digital's definitely louder.
Digital, you have
Oh yeah.
way more areas.
Mhm.
But digital might be louder, but it's also a sharper loud. Analog is a warmer loudness, right?
Yeah, it's a saturation. It's like everything's like hitting that ceiling and then clumping up. It's like a kind of a cartoon. You think about it, like it's just everything just kind of clumping up at the ceiling and and at some point a breakthrough, and that's where clipping happens. But I saw that shift. They went from not the Nagra to the DAT, which was another form of tape. It's digital audio tape, but it was digital tape, which I don't get it.
Yeah.
But like so we had the DAT machines, and then there was like a short period of the DAT, and then it went hard drive. Hard drive existed, and that was super expensive. My dad's like, yeah, these hard drives are like
hard driver was so slow.
Oh my god, probably 250 megabytes.
Yeah.
And so when I was sampling music before I even had a DAW and knew of such things, I think Pro Tools was like one of the first. There was earlier versions like Cakewalk and stuff like that, but even before all that, and Fruity Loops, before all that, there was the iOmega zip drive, which was 250 megabytes.
Oh,
And
the little floppy disks.
Yeah.
The floppy disk.
There's the flop. They're like this big. It was called a zip drive. The floppy disk was like pre-zip drive, and then the zip drives came out.
I remember I made so much stuff on my dad's TS10 12 thing.
Yeah.
And it used a floppy disk, and so I lost so many songs. They were so unreliable. They would always corrupt.
Absolutely.
And you couldn't. The computer formatted them to a certain format for that file system, so you couldn't plug it into a computer to transfer the stuff. Otherwise, it'd corrupt the disk.
Oh
so
yeah.
You
were they really that fragile with the data? Like,
yeah.
Oh god. Yeah.
I think they were super fragile, or we just got really cheap ones. But I think I'm gonna err on the side of the former. They were just terrible for data.
Yeah, it was like all the samplers had they had something called a SCSI drive, a SCSI output. Basically, like it looked kind of like
right?
Yes, exactly.
CSI, I know what you're talking about.
And SCSI, that's what people would call it, but yeah, the acronym was SCSI, and that's what the iOmega drives would connect to. It was a separate drive you'd buy at like Fry's when that place existed. And
Fry's is still around in some places.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Not over here.
When I was in San Diego, I think they had it out there.
Right after 2020, they.
The last time I had gone to a Fry's was like 2016.
Yeah, they got Best Buy basically is the new Fry's, except not as cool. Because like remember Fry's, they'd always have like a different theme.
Fry's
like
was sick.
Right? It would have like one was like a Disney theme. It was like, or one was like a forest theme, and like it was crazy.
But you could find so much stuff there. It was just a junkyard for electric parts.
Just hard to find. It was like Home Depot.
Computer
trying to find people to talk to help you was like impossible.
And anybody whom you could find that to help you, they're like, I don't know, just dig through a bin until you find it. You think I freaking know how this place is organized? Like that's probably what their mentality was, because there was stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
plus six. What's up, plus six? Plus
six. What's up, man? Good to see you. Charlie, our homies, dog.
Degrade under light. Oh shit. The zip disk would degrade under light.
And lose your data. That makes I'm not surprised by that, honestly.
That's like a fine wine. You want to keep that shit in the dark.
What was kind of a revelation for me is I have a 2 terabyte external hard drive, and I have a single terabyte external solid state drive. I'm so much more comfortable storing everything on that solid state. If I have to travel, that thing can bounce around in a bag, get thrown, stuff. Everything's on the board. It's nothing's loose, spinning parts. It's so much more reliable. It's so much faster. But I mean, even if you have that, always make at least 2 backups of everything that you have. Stay on top of your backups. I have everything on my computer and everything on 2 separate drives as well.
Exactly. Yep.
I agree.
My computer is the solid state, and then I have 2 RAID, but the newer RAID style kind of drives. I really wanted to get like a Syncope or a what's it called, the other server drives. They're awesome, but I don't think I need them. But
You're making me think of like an airport, like what
no,
Apple used to do.
there's Syncope, which is Apple's like server drive. They're like 20 terabyte server drives you can access from anywhere, but they're super expensive. They're just the other company is D something, I think. Syncope, or I'll look it up, but they're super expensive. I have 2G raids, and their raids, they're quiet. They can give off a little bit of noise, and like you said, the moving parts are kind of annoying. But the reason I got raids for that purpose is because if I do lose data, the raids are easier to what's the word?
Basically.
Yeah, there you go. Because they split the information among all the drives.
Yeah.
So when somebody, by the way, it's really expensive for somebody to actually analyze your hard drive and find the data. It's super expensive.
But that's kind of what makes it a worthy price to get one of those instead.
Yeah.
You know you're getting what you pay for, basically.
Exactly.
Soundbites, I think you still have your stream running, by the way.
Oh, shit.
See you in the sidebar. Sorry.
I rated. I rated you already. I rated you, so I'm just.
And then forgot to hit.
I'm tallying.
Yeah.
Tallying up.
We needed Fat Loud's End Streamia.
End Streamia. Dude, Fat Loud's streams are pretty. They're coming up, man. The DJing sessions he's doing.
I know.
I
love it.
Crazy.
And it's unlike any house music that I've. It's just fucking grind. I love it.
Yep.
It's really good.
Like all the I've been learning a lot more about production watching both of your guys' streams. Like Eyes has really taught me a lot of stuff as well. Like when it comes to like compression and getting the sounds right and everything. That way
we
it's
just
not like
covered
crackling as much and things like that.
We just covered EQ reduction and stuff.
Yeah, EQ reduction, and delay, and compression, and even those little things like helped out a bunch. And like with Soundbites, his production streams are just really helpful as well, especially with your feedback streams as well. And I did want to ask, like, what was it that got you in the feedback streams in general? Like, did you just like hear other
Chris
people's
Perkins.
songs? Oh, it was him that
Chris.
got you?
Yeah, he's the one who is he. Well, I watched the Ghost House, and I love his stream, by the way. Rich, and I tried not to stream on like do feedback during his feedback days for sure. I didn't want to be that guy, and so that guy like that. I don't think I like that.
That's right, baby.
I
could cop out.
A guy like that. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Could cop out and put the link in chat, but I won't be the guy
Do
like
it.
that.
not right now.
Why am I? Not right now.
Yeah.
Definitely later though.
No self promo.
Yeah. Yeah. Have some modesty. Anyway, what you okay? So you don't want to be the guy like that and do feedback streams during somebody else's.
Oh yeah. So Chris, we were talking in his stream, something like that, or what? I don't know. I don't remember who's who, but like, he was like, "Yeah, I do feedback," and I was like, "Well, maybe I should try doing feedback because this guy Rich is doing it, and I could never get a song on the Twitch sessions, and nobody's ever showing their monitors when they do feedback, and even though like the viewer or the user is not listening through that, it's kind of like that. It's like they're like assured, like, oh, this is being listened to through something that other than headphones. So I think that kind of like gave me a little cutting edge. I was like, if I don't do this, I'm stupid. I talked to my wife about it the next day. I was like, if I don't do feedback, I'm stupid. I gotta try it. And that was kind of where the streaming, from my perspective, really kind of blew up. However, I didn't want to get sucked into doing it all the time, because then when would I have time for my music,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, feedback's like porn. It's really easy. It's easy to get people to want to come to your stream with that
in your title.
You know what I mean? And the music end of things, that's very hard to get people to engage. And I have not done a good job at that as I have with feedback. My music production, I think just in general, I think people, unless they really like watching and recording, including musicians. I know a lot of musicians who hate studio sessions. They hate it. They'd rather gig. They hate it. They really do. There's so many
Interesting.
that hate it.
I'm almost opposite. I don't hate gigging, but I look forward to comfortably gigging someday. But I don't know. I need to find my right setup for that. And that's going to be
Mhm.
just some experience that I'll have to do someday. And I'll
I'm
do it
definitely not a
eventually.
gigging musician. I did my few gigs like back in the days.
I guess gig. I mean more like show. I don't know if I
Yeah,
want to just do gigs at bars and stuff. I actually want to put on shows, concerts.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
do real like a show.
Hmm. And you're gonna pay, like I feel like if like as a production, like you do, like with what you do, and with what you do, Brandon, it's like you can work in the box, you can do all your production, your everything, just your arrangements, and then if you do need to perform it, you can hire people. You know,
Yep.
That's true.
And
that's
actually,
it.
what I planned on doing for now is just have the backing track. Maybe
Yeah.
have
Oh yeah,
just
yeah.
play one of the leads and let the other lead play.
Yeah, just
Uh-huh.
have pretty much a solo performance.
But it's funny.
I've, I've done that
Somebody
too.
asked me recently. They or asked me at one point. They're like, "So these are pretty complex leads. How are you going to get people to play this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'll figure that out eventually."
Yeah.
It was something along the lines to that. I'm not trying to flex. Sorry. It
I
was
will
something
say,
like that.
like, I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum. Like when it comes to like my streams, because like I mostly focus on like the gigging side and like I'll like show. I'm trying to like lean it towards now to where it's more of a balance. Like on my Sundays, I have like lazy Sunday where I'll work on stuff, and that's more a production side.
Right.
But it's like I want to mostly perform, but also be able to show the chat at times, like how I'm doing this, what am I doing, like the process behind it a little bit, you know.
Yeah. If
I
I
get,
may
but you guys are
say,
more on the other side of the thing. You guys are more focused on
if
the
I may
production side.
say, your best performing streams are always going to be the thing that you're most comfortable doing.
Yeah,
Production
exactly.
is the most thing I'm comfortable doing. I'm not
Yeah.
really worried about it being a low viewership at first because this is not a 1 year plan of
No.
Right.
music streaming and music career. It's a 20, 30 year plan. I've said this multiple times, probably in the
Oh yeah.
podcast. But
Absolutely.
so is for me, if I'm not doing what I love to be doing, I don't feel it makes it harder to continue to want to stream and do
Right.
things.
Yeah, it's not as
But
motivating.
if I do the things that I want to do and let the audience come in naturally and be there for it because they enjoy that, then I have then attracted the right crowd, the right types of people around, like friends, stuff like that. So I look at it personally as a slow build instead of
Mm-hmm.
And
a
that's how
numbers
it
game.
should be. You get to take your
Yep.
time and actually meet and get to know and get close to your community, you know. And for
Yeah.
other
That
people
kind
that are
of
trying to go
circum.
for the fast build,
Mhm.
they're forgetting all of that.
And it does make it easier because it's not an influx of 10 people in the stream and just trying to get to know 10 people at a time. It's a
Yeah.
slow build, and I have a more genuine connection with everybody. Like
Yeah.
Meowface,
Absolutely.
Lisa,
Uh-huh.
they're like new members, and
They're
they're
already getting
there all
along
the
great with
time now, and it's
everybody.
amazing. Purple Milk
Yeah.
has been amazing as well. She's one of the lurkers, and I hope they're watching the stream or the podcast. I'm shouting them out right now.
I
Love
think
'em.
your chat is extremely interactive, though, Eyes. I think it's the way you have it
It is.
set up. It's really the people who come in there. They're always going to be there,
Oh,
and
thank you.
it's true. Like you got so as far as music production, you've kind of garnished a community out of your music production rather than through like the means of feedback. And so I'm still trying to get it going through music production. It is definitely a slow move, and it's only going to get better in time, but
Yeah,
it is a little bit like discouraging for me to, like, man, dude, it's like, I don't want to get sucked into doing feedback all the time.
yeah.
So if you want to get, you know what I mean? It's like the 9 to 5, like you're
I
doing
do
music
understand.
production.
I do understand exactly what you're saying because I did a feedback stream once and followers left and right immediately. I was like, holy crap, this is going to grow the channel, but I'd never seen them again.
Yeah,
It
they
was
only came that
they
one
just
time.
didn't come back. That it wasn't a retention, and I was like, cool, maybe I'll do more of these and really build the community. But then I was like, no, that's building a number for me. I was like, I
It
genuinely
really
want to
is,
like
Right.
honestly.
build a community, and I need to do this the slow way for me. If I'm going to do it right, it's going to be slower.
And the numbers
And
shouldn't matter.
there were a couple other concerns with it, like feedback. People could send a link, and I've heard about doxing. I've heard about DDoS attacks. People can put malicious things in a link, even though it links directly to a website. I was just like, this is a little paranoia on my end, but I don't want to. I don't want to risk that, and then I don't want to just have a feedback career.
Fearless?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's
Moon
up,
just
Moon?
walked up in here. Hope you're doing all right,
And
Moon.
and I'm not. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm down talking you in your process of feedback streams, soundbites. That's
No,
not at all
absolutely
what I'm
not.
trying to do.
I completely
I'm trying to
agree.
add to the conversation because it's
Yeah.
nice to
Right.
nice to kind of hear you have these concerns. From my perspective, it's nice to hear you say almost like, oh man, I want to be doing more than that. That means a lot to me.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
funny
that's
'cause-
also what I've seen. It's like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was
I'm
just
sorry.
gonna say that it was funny because me and Eyes were talking about this literally earlier before you had showed up when we were prepping and everything. We were literally talking about the same thing, saying like feedback streams are nice, but it's like it shouldn't be the only thing that
Right.
if you're trying to like
Yeah.
just boost the community.
But it
Yeah.
also shouldn't be difficult for you. Every time I'm in your streams, you're very interactive. You're a wild card. I love it. And it's like I always call you and Fat Loud the wild cards because I don't ever know if Fat Loud is just going to destroy his room. I don't ever know if you're going to be. I don't ever know if you're going to be coming up in there like
I
twerking
can't
like
destroy
I do.
my room.
You know,
if I could, I
Hell no.
would.
I mean, when you talk about interactivity with chat, you have it as well,
Yeah.
and that's
Definitely
really
do.
good.
I,
Yeah, so I enjoy being there, and that's why even if I'm working, I tried it like the other day. Jump in your stream because I want to be there while you're producing. And
yeah, everybody has their timetable. It's like it's really it's the building community part I feel like is the hurdle, you know? It really is. It's, some people can do it whereas others like, you know, and I don't see it here by the way. I don't see it with among any of us, right? I see a lot of potential in myself and a lot of potential in you guys. And I think that's why I'm just drawn to you guys all the time when I watch your streams because I watch you improve. You're watching me improve. Like even the last stream I had with the band here, I put my buddy on the phone and I got like him talking shit about how it sounded in his headphone mix, and I wanted people to hear that vulnerable side of me 5 years ago, maybe even during 2020 when I tried to start streaming. I would have never done that. I would have never been
No.
so vulnerable.
No,
But
I
now
know.
I'm like, fuck it. I'm just like, let's do it. You know, this is what people want. They want to see this. They don't want to see cookie cutter.
People
you
are
know,
tired of the image. People
You know
are
what I
tired
mean?
of the
Yeah.
fake image.
Yeah,
we
It
don't
gets
need it.
old quick, and it's like, why are you still
Mhm.
trying to do this? You know.
And we're like at war with Instagram if you think about it. Like Instagram's about what we just don't want to be about here on Twitch. You know, it's about reality.
And it's
But-
funny. I have Instagram.
Yeah.
I honestly view the Discord more as a social network.
Oh,
Because-
I do
absolutely.
too.
Because
honestly.
I can directly engage with people. They can ask me a question on there. I'm there. Boom. I have it on my phone. And
Yeah.
Same like Instagram. It's just every now and again I put a post up there. It's more of a visual advertisement type thing.
Right.
Right.
And Twitter/X, that's a place for people to try to look at my posts and be like, try to decipher what the S I'm saying.
It's because all your posts are just like philosophical and all that type of stuff. Do I want to be the guy like that?
You want to be the guy like that, or should I start on a blank page? Oh, wait.
I love that you still have your Christmas tree up. It really makes me feel good.
Honestly, it's because I want to, since I've had it up there so long, I want to put a plan up there to replace it because I feel like I need like a plan up there now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I might as well
I
keep
have
the
a
Christmas tree up
suggestion.
until I change it.
Put a
The
full
lights on
body,
it, though.
put a
It's so
full
cool.
body cutout of Soundbites back there.
No. A
Do
naked
it.
version of me. I'll do
Yes.
it for.
Oh God.
I'll have to do. If I stream
get
to
banned
Kick,
so
I'll go
quick.
naked. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Not. If I go Kick, I'll go naked.
Oh,
Okay?
so that
Yeah,
one
Kick,
week
yeah.
that 1 week that Twitch allowed it, you did.
Oh, that's right. They talked about that. They talk
pretty
about
much
as long as it's artistic.
Yep.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And people were asking what artistic is. I'm like, there's clearly a line. You know when something's artistic, and you know when something's like pushing the edge. But
when you see a little bit of this, it's not artistic anymore.
That's-
It's
yeah,
like
that's-
I'm gonna go to the
yeah.
bathroom real quick.
Right.
Wild card.
Wild card. Yep.
That's a soundbite
prominent,
for y'all, chat.
prominent. You're getting a copyright strike or something.
I am so bad and immature.
No, you're rock solid, dude.
Yeah, you're fine.
No, but with your feedback streams though, circling back to that, they are honestly. I just realized when you were talking about the visual. Oh, that's a sick voice crack. When you were talking about the visuals and the things that you do, it is genuinely the best feedback stream that I've personally ever seen, and I'm not just trying to dap you up.
Oh
right
yeah.
now.
No, I absolutely agree with you.
Because when I did the feedback stream, the one time that I did, I remember what bothered me about feedback streams is people were like, "Oh yeah, just adjust the low end. Track's sick, dude. It's just not my taste, but cool."
Yeah.
So when I did it, I was like, "This is what I'm hearing. These are the cons. These are the pros. Adjust the mids here, adjust the lows here, and maybe work your lyrics here." And then boom, you took what I did, and you do that stuff too, but you add the visuals to it and a little bit more of a studio personality type of beat type thing.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of us who make music, including myself, by the way. Like I submit my songs to Rich, his stream at the Ghost House. Like I want to get his take and his feedback. So it's like not like there's a range of users who need feedback. It could be anywhere from somebody who's just starting out in music production to somebody who's well versed in everything, including EQing and compression.
And being honest with you, before if people want to hear my releases before they're out, I showed you Blank Page on your feedback stream
absolutely.
like a month before
That was
I announced
beautiful.
it. And then you're the only one that I feel like I can trust with the whole studio setup and I know you'd give an honest opinion to me. It's not even that's not even to get the attention. It's just to get your opinion on it and to see your natural reaction. And the way you freaked out and the way you were all about it, I was like, and you said, "I have nothing." I was like, "Okay, it's done. It's ready to go. It's ready to go." So, I mean,
because he did the same thing for my song "Love at First Sight" that's coming out.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You did a feedback stream for that like a long while ago,
and I
was even surprised.
I appreciate
you
the
were
honesty.
like, "Oh, this is nice. Like this is well mixed," and you gave me some advice like on the hi hats and stuff, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that. I was like, "Okay, man." So I like switched up the hi hats and everything, and like, y'all know the song now. So.
Y'all are making hits out of your garages, you know, like that's what the people are doing this. Like they're doing things from their cell phone. That's the one thing I think from feedback streams that really, it's not only that they learn from me, I learn from you guys. You know, I learn from those of you who submit music and your process. It's really interesting so that's why I don't like saying, "Oh, try doing this," and I try to really understand their process first. Like, why was this so loud in the bass? Is this what you want?
Yeah.
I mean, and many times it may be. And like, so I've got to look at it from a completely objective lens, and music is subjective and feedback is objective, you know? So I try to not like put myself into, this is, because some people even chat will be like, "This is too loud."
But and
then I'll be like,
the point I was going to bring
up, or the bass is too loud, or something.
That's what I was going to bring up too.
And I'll be like, "Yeah, this is their process. This is there's that new style of bass that's overbearing."
Oh
and
yeah,
it originated from like trap and all that.
No thanks.
Personally, for me, I'm like, I gotta embrace it, because if I'm going to give it feedback with the blinders on, then I'm not going to be a good. I embrace it all. Like I embrace it all unless it's really terrible. Like there was this one guy who came, and there's music trolls out there to send you my favorite
If anybody remembers the early days of my streams, elevator music, elevator type.
That would
music.
be awesome if I got some fucking elevator music in my
No,
stream.
no, no. They
I would
called
rock out to that.
they called it elevator. They said this is called elevator type beat. This is
Dude.
a genre, but it was
Thank
the
you.
weirdest thing. And it was like a troll.
I remember that.
But what I was gonna say is, I feel really confident that I can trust your opinion on whenever I send in something to feedback. For instance, I sent a guy like that before that was announced, just to get kind of a final opinion on it. And somebody in chat said the vocals are too loud. And then you read the chat, and I was thinking to myself, like, they do kind of feel loud, but if I've tested this, if I turn them down, they just sit back and blend in with the mix instead of really being what vocals ought to be.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Piece, the vocal piece.
Yeah.
And then you pretty much said the same thing. You're like, no, they're not too loud. You're like, they need to be kind of out front. And I was like, dude, he just said what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude,
that's a hard thing for people to grasp is the vocals being out front, and it really is a really fine line.
You can turn them down 0.5 decibels, and they will just get muddy with the mix.
Or just like that's where parallel compression or just even compression in general comes into play.
Yep, indeed.
Where it's like it's very subtle, but it's something that needs to. If it's something that the fader can't provide, then you have to like kind of, oh shit, I gotta pull out the other tools, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's subtle, but like when you start to advance as a producer, you realize that all of it's in the subtleties. You could have a kick, but that kick is going to sound a certain way because you've edited the EQ shape on it, and then you cut out the low ends on the snare. Then all of a sudden you have a nice clean mix. You know, you keep adding these little subtleties to it. You add parallel compression. Mm-hmm. All these small things are what kind of build out to what experiences as a producer or in anything that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know but it is cool though when like people like Figure, who drives and listens to our streams as he's driving, giving us feedback. He was like, this sounds interesting in my car. You know, he was giving me feedback on kind of one of my songs I was playing. He was like, it was a mix. And I was like, instead of me like creating bouncing the track out, he was hearing it in real time, how it sounds on his car. In his car. And I was like, that's a really cool. Yeah, that's
got like
really
another
neat
perspective, like from other people that listen to.
Yeah, it really helps.
Or headphones, things like that.
Exactly, and even when like people are like, "Oh, I'm listening to this through my headphones," it's like, yes, all right. I don't want to be like, "Oh, you're fucking listening through headphones, dude. You're not listening through these speakers."
Right.
But these speakers are the bane of my existence, in a way, because I can get so caught up into these speakers that it doesn't translate on other speakers. So
exactly, like it can sound good on the speakers, but like you try to listen through headphones or the car,
right?
It's gonna be crappy, you know.
Yeah, and if you're getting that instant feedback from somebody who's doing that, like that's really valuable, you know, to me as an artist. And Twitch is the only like platform that really like. I know there's YouTube and they're trying to do the same thing, but Twitch is just that kind of a platform where it's the interactability with other users, and even the sound quality. I wonder, like us playing and collaborating like through these means, through the stream together means or whatever we're doing on Discord.
Yeah.
If it's transferable like in real time, well, not real time, but because of physics, but like. You know what I mean? Like as we're seeing
over and things like that. You mean?
Not even file transfer. Like you play keys, and then I sing over it at the same time while we're in. I don't know if there's probably inherent latency between each user, so I don't know.
I would think. Yeah, the latency would be the biggest issue. I was thinking, I don't know if something would work with like the Stream Together program that they have, but I feel like that would have a lot of latency as well. Because everybody's internet connection is different, you know.
Absolutely, and I was wondering how I actually frequent Dan Clancy's streams to get information about that, because he's always streaming together, and he's always actually looking to stream together with other streamers. And I've seen him stream like people with 3 followers, and then as soon as he's done streaming with them, they've got like 50 followers. It's like I was like, man, hey, if you guys are looking for something like maybe you should check that out. Like when he streams too, he has like a window. Like if you want to be, like there's not that I would assume there's probably not a lot of people in the list, but he usually would get to the people I see like he uses the stream together feature and it kind of showcases the like people like us who need to be showcased.
Right,
you
exactly.
know
And eyes just to like catch you up and stuff while you were AFK for a second.
I
You were
was
just
listening.
oh, you were listening the whole time?
Yeah, I had the speakers turned on, and I did have a kind of a point to bring in. But if you wanted to, reiterate something prominent, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt the host.
Oh no, you're good. I was just saying that I think it was just really cool how like we were talking about how cool it is for Figure to be able to like get feedback and listen to a stream through the car.
Mm-hmm.
And like it gives people like it gives the person who made the mix a different perspective on the mix and stuff
Yeah,
like that instead of just like relying on the speakers or relying on headphones the whole time, etc.
and it kind of where I was going to add to that, and hopefully Soundbites can agree, but it kind of gets you out of your ego of making music for the producer and the musician, and making music for the listener, because the average listener on the average user on the platform is probably a listener. I don't know the statistics to that, so maybe don't quote me, but I'm going to guess that the average Twitch viewer is a listener more than they are in the studio producing music. So they have a very valuable ear too. There's something to be said about writing music for the listener instead of the producer, because you start going way too complex. You start getting lost in really, really intricate details that nobody, people aren't paying attention to it. But the listener, they're going to tell you if it sounds bad or good, just based off their ears.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and you guys are important. Like everybody, especially people who are listening to music and playing games all day. They got headphones on, and so
Yep.
they don't want shit to sound bad in their ears, and so they know what sounds good and what sounds bad. And
Indeed.
so it's a very good like kind of cohort of people that you can instantly know if your materials, not like instantly, because obviously I've seen some very terrible,
subjectivity.
like I've seen some very terrible music streamers, like very like not more on the lines of cover artists, right? And they don't really have microphones, and they're like
Yeah.
playing out of the, and they've got like 200 people watching, and I don't know if they're even bots, but I'm just like,
No, but that goes to one of the age-old sayings. It's not really always about what you stream. It's about people being attracted to your personality.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That person probably just
Personality
has
is
a great ass
everything.
community behind them, though, and they all love and respect
Yep.
each other and get along with each other really well.
And there's
Yeah.
other aspects, right, of them being longer streamers than, like
Yeah.
maybe they've been streaming for 10 years, like or so.
There are so many variables. It's important to make sure that you don't compare yourself, and just be grateful for what you do have and where you are, and always have a goal of moving forward.
Right, right.
Exactly.
Move forward and keep it going, but also learn from others, and if that is worth saying, "Oh, I want to do that for me,"
Mhm.
that's you're giving yourself like the options by learning from others, like, and I very much am a student of other people. Like I really study people, their process, and I compare it to, not like compare it, but I know that my process is mine, and I've been essentially learning on my own terms. But when I see somebody else do something, I instantly pick their brain. That's the reason why I have this gear, by the way. I picked the brain of an audio engineer friend of mine, uh, and he's a phenomenal audio. He's a acoustical engineer, works for this big company that is hired, like, they do acoustics for everybody, including the government, right? And even the airports, like all the airports are designed so that your brain isn't rattling when those planes
Right.
take off, right? There's some acoustical engineering going
Yeah.
on in there. It is intense. So, like one day he told me, he's like, dude, you got to get this Burl gear. And I had no, this was like 5 years before I bought it. So I studied it for about 5 years, went to their listening. They would like offer free like events all around LA and the country. And they would, um, frequent different studios and compare the Burl setup to the Avid HDIO, which is like the industry standard. The Burl blew Avid away every time the other cool thing about these events that they would hold is there was free beer. So and free beer and free food. So I was there already. And
Big
you're in like
dog.
the best studios in the world. So you're like, dude, this is why turn this down. And you get to network with people. It's funny, like they're like, why don't we use tape machine anymore? Or why is using tape bad? Because they were comparing the Burl to the tape. And everybody kind of laughed at my comment because I was like, because it's bad for the environment. Like, because it's tape, like it's plastic and even vinyl, like it's like whatever. But I was like, and digital's obviously it's got servers and stuff that take the brunt of the, of whatever. Anyway, so like, so I got the Burl because of a friend, and I just kept picking their brain about audio. Like I never went to school for audio, and instead of my ego saying, "Well, I can do audio too," I instead said, "Well, can you teach me how to do this? And like, can you show me?" And I would call him every day, and he was okay with this because he'd love to talk about audio all day.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "You're the only." He was from Argentina too, so he'd be like, "You're the only guy who I can talk audio with, man." It was like, I love it. I love that you love to talk audio. It's just really nice, And I was like, yes, So we hooked up, and he helped me like do like the patch bay. We were soldering together with our soldering, guns, and both of us just eating flaming hot Cheetos and soldering. And that process, just the fact that I was just so interested in learning that, I think it like the soldering aspect, the routing schemes of all the gear, I think that really changed the game for me. At first I was just like you guys. I was in the box. I was using a PreSonus, interface, and then at one point on M Audio, the first one that was crap. So like, next was the Behringer X32, which is like my front of the house mixer. And
I remember Behringer, the brand.
Every church has them. You go to every church, any church, you go to the front of the house, it's a Behringer X32. It's funny. Even all the like Behringer videos.
What's your mic for streaming?
My mic is cheap, like compared to most lav mics, but it's a Sony, and it's a cheaper.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you connect it to the computer? Is it?
I've got it connected to another interface, which is a Allen and Heath.
Okay.
That's way if if my DAW crashes, I don't lose the audio.
See, you were talking about you said you want to see me cooking in one of these streams someday. I was like,
sure.
yeah, once I figure out like, yeah,
I'll see your pizza process.
I have the dough prepping right now.
Yeah, you're doing pizza tonight?
Yeah.
Nice.
We
gotta get prominent some pizza. Aren't you guys close to each other? You're in Georgia, right? He's right above you. There you go.
No, I'm from Georgia, but I'm currently living in Kentucky.
Oh shit, that's right. You said Kentucky.
Yeah.
I've been to Clarksville. Louisville. Oh shit. It's a beautiful town.
I think I've been there.
I love it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So prominent, did you have a topic or a question that you wanted to ask? Because I kind of wanted to move on to a topic of a discussion around solutions for a particular thing that we have discussed.
No, I think I'm good on that topic. I think you can go ahead.
Okay, cool. So like we typically say on the show, it's not only about, trying to vent about areas where we struggle, but it's also about trying to find solutions and find out some of the steps to where anything that we have said, maybe you guys can relate. Nice confetti, by the way. So we were talking about building a community, and that's one of the things that really stuck out to me about. You said that's such a hurdle, and it is for a lot of people, and it is one of the things that holds you back from continuing to go. So I think some solutions to that would be a good thing to discuss. I'll start it with one of the solutions being give to others first. Really help build their communities and help add to what they have happening.
Yeah, support the people who support you, basically.
And reach out to people not trying to get a favor out of them, but trying to
Get to know
build
you
a
as
genuine
friends,
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see through those people who they do you a favor and then they expect something in return. You can see through them right away. It's
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. I'm just like I'm. It's happened to me too, like with streaming, you know, the whole Instagram follow for follow ordeal is not the way Twitch works. You know, like people, if they genuinely like you, they're gonna follow you. You know what I mean?
Now
But
my go-to is follow for sub. I'll follow you if you sub to me.
oh, that's
No.
yeah. I mean, seriously, that's
I'm kidding.
you know,
I'm
try
kidding.
that. That's good. Let's try it out.
It's great. It's great. It's so good. No, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, yeah. I think that I think that aspect of it, I'm still trying to, because I came from Instagram, and I even when I tried to live stream back in 2020 on Twitch, it was like a quick minute, and then I tried to do it on Instagram, and that was even worse because the bandwidth and all that, and I just wasn't prepared. Not, and by the way, nothing was around then, like for like the way they had like these cameras they have now, and it's a lot more easy to.
Yeah, my start was trying Periscope.
Periscope. I did Periscope.
Yeah,
that was
forgot
fun.
about
Dude, Periscope was awesome. I used to like go
so sick.
watch a musician in Iraq playing fucking guitar. Like that was so cool.
You know,
Prominent.
I know you know Claire Means now. Because I recommended you to her.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
I don't every
her.
time I don't
streaming.
go into her stream often enough so she doesn't ever remember me. But I met her on Santa Monica Boulevard. That's how I know her. And
She's
it's
in
just
LA?
it's just a passerby. So like we don't like know each other, but it was cool to meet her. And then I used to watch her stream on Periscope. So that kind of got me into that, and then I followed her through some press releases and stuff like that every now and again because I kept up with her. And then when I dropped off for a while, then when I started streaming this year, I was like, I wonder if she's on Twitch, and found her through Twitch, and she's on there now. So it's like it's kind of cool. I've been following her for quite some time, and I actually learned one of her songs on guitar.
And she's a gigging musician. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, her voice is very unique too. It's very raspy.
Yeah, I like it. It's very folk and real, and
her streams are just really calm and relaxing too. Just a good vibe. I love them.
Yeah, she's cool. I like her.
That's why I like art streams too. You can like work on music while somebody's drawing a face or something, like photorealism or something like that.
Dude, Toxic Stream is the place to be.
Oh, does he do art?
I was
Saturday morning streams. Yeah,
he's making album covers and stuff like that, like going through the process and everything.
Yeah, Toxic's a great follow.
Am I following Toxic?
I will say this though, it's really cool how like I think we talked about this before, how you and I just like ended up meeting more and more music streamers, just like us like shouting each other out, and just like we just keep bringing more and more people the more we go back and forth and stuff like that.
And now it doesn't feel like
we just like share each other's like viewers with each other.
Exactly. And honestly, the more you keep doing that type of stuff and trying to build connections, the better you get at it too. You're not trying to force trying a relationship or whatever. You have met people at the beginning and they are genuine friends that stick with you.
Exactly.
And then later it just starts to come a little bit more naturally. You start to automatically build a community because not only do you have friends that you made on the platform, they're friends who can vouch for you and friends who are going to be there to help you welcome that new member.
Yes.
And you can do the same for them. That's why when I'm modding in Prominent stream or whenever I can make it to Bree stream, it's different time zone, so it's so late now. But I always try to welcome in the new people and get to know them whenever I can.
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm sure we all know that feeling of going into somebody else's stream and it's just like, or it's just you chat with a streamer and they're either the streamer might be very short with you, or they might actually dialogue with you a bit, but the community, everyone else is just ignoring your chat, and you're just like, I don't feel like I'm welcomed at all. So
Yeah, they're
I
just
know
sitting
that
there,
feeling.
just like, oh, another viewer walked in. What's up? Like, and just go about
Mhm.
their day. Like, that's not really
Mhm.
what any community should be about. That's definitely not what
Yeah.
I want the anti-perfectionist community to be about either. You know,
Yeah,
like I love
exactly.
it
But
that everybody is talking to each other, just genuinely making friends with each other. We can just say good morning, how's your day going? You know, and just talk
Mhm.
about our days and stuff like that instead of just being completely dead with each other. And then when the stream comes, like we're all just watching the stream, but we're not talking to each other. You know.
And it's not
Mhm.
business all the time. That's another thing
Exactly.
about
Yeah.
building relationships and building a community. It's not about follow for follow or check out my new song, listen to this new song. La, da, 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 da. It's about, dog, I saw you were playing Baldur's Gate 3. Why didn't you tell me? You know, what do you think about it? Or, you know, you just build genuine connections. I sound stupid now, but, you know, that's
It's hard to do. I think I'm wondering as you guys say that. Excuse me, I'm chewing on ice.
Good.
Is the threshold to where there is a threshold to a point to which streamers overwhelmed with chat and we haven't. I don't think any of us have reached that threshold yet with the hundreds of chatters, you know, like in the
Mhm.
stream and just this chat just moving, right? And I noticed though with those who do have that they generally will chat with their original community members. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And the newcomers will come in, and it's almost like a testament of, or almost another indoctrination. And by the way, I hate being indoctrinated all over and over again. Whether it's like going in the military, there's that indoctrination. College, that indoctrination. So it's like all the indoctrinations. I'm done. You know,
Yeah, you just
but
want to go somewhere and,
I
yeah.
understand. You know, like you're going into a new group,
It's almost like
and
I would almost use the word vetted instead. Like you have to
exactly
vet before you
vetting,
True.
and I think there's a certain process of praising the streamer that they want to hear you like say good things about them. I was
or do you even just say
I'm
their
guilty of
username?
this. Oh my god, I'm so guilty of this. Like I would go into streams when I first started, be like, "So what kind of setup you got? What interfaces are you using? What's up?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, what interfaces? What kind of microphone are you recording on? I just love talking audio, but I can attest that to that the fact that they probably were like, dude, I get so many of you guys asking me this shit. Here's the command for it, command gear, or whatever. You know, like there you
Right.
go. And so they like, let's move on with.
I'm gonna come into your stream and you're just gonna have exclamation point stop asking, and it's just gonna bring up all your gear.
At this point in my
Exclamation
streaming
mark
career,
STFU,
it's
like-
fine. Like at this point in my life or stream career, it's fine because I want to engage with chat. But I'm wondering what the threshold of that when that time happens because I really want it to happen. I'm not. I'm optimistic
Yeah,
and at the same time I'm like, dude, I got
you
a
want
lot
to.
of work ahead of me. A
Yeah,
lot
you
more
want
hard
to.
work.
You want to be empathetic to being able to catch everybody's chat, but the reality
Absolutely.
is, when you're someone like Kit Bogo with 7,000 people on the stream, and it's just flying,
Straight up.
it's like
Yeah.
you can't catch every single one of them. But
Yeah.
I think maybe the mentality switches on the user as well. Like that doesn't, you can't catch every chat.
That's what the mods are also there for, I feel, and that's when I will implement more moderators
Mhm.
once once my chat grows and once the viewership grows. I think right now I'm like, oh, you know, I could pretty much moderate the chat. There's not that many people here, but then like uh I still have not banned somebody. I'm waiting
Man,
for you.
I'll give
didn't think
you,
I was
I'll
gonna-
give
I didn't think it
you
was
your
gonna happen in my
prescription.
stream.
Your prescription of Tribantia. I'll
I didn't
give
think I
it.
was
I'll give you a
gonna-
bottle, dude.
Yeah, I didn't think the whole banning thing was gonna happen in my stream like for a while, but that last stream I had,
How did that work out for you?
Oh my god.
I did it.
I
didn't
personally, yeah, I appreciate Eyes and Harmfree for like taking care of that, the spammers and all that stuff. They were just getting annoying.
Oh
yeah,
shit!
they found Harmfree and me on Instagram, and they were trying to message us, specifically Harmfree.
What?
Yeah, they created an Instagram account just to message us. That made me a
Wow.
little uncomfortable because I was like, that's a little bit of a witch hunt, but
Yeah.
I believe everything will be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, aside of that, what do you guys do? Do you guys obviously do you guys multi-stream while you're streaming on Twitch?
What do you mean? Like
Like
watch other
using
streamers?
Restream? No, like using
Oh,
Restream to stream to YouTube or
Oh,
I do,
I'd
but
like to
not
do that
like.
eventually.
I
I'd
want
like to do
to.
that eventually.
yeah, I've been doing it since the beginning, but the only reason is I actually make all the videos on YouTube private. Nobody can see them. They're just a repository for all my content.
Yeah,
It's like a hard drive that I don't have to spend money on,
yeah,
essentially.
exactly. Somebody recommended that to me as well.
But
Which
do
is
you
good to
guys
know.
like have enough time to like provide content for in short form on those platforms, or has that been a hurdle or
You
something for
mean
me?
For me,
like
it's trying to like.
post stream?
I think he's talking
Yeah,
about just
post stream.
like post stream like clips and stuff like that to social media and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I find it. For me, it's hard to find the balance between doing that and keeping up with the streams and things like that, and working on my own music stuff in my free time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the solution for some people to do that is like use like their Twitch clips most of the time and like just post those and things like that. Which I'll do
Right.
like every now and again, but at the same time, like I can understand that how that could get stale really quick. And people are like, oh, it's just another Twitch clip. Like, oh, another one. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so trying to like
I,
find
I
the
was,
time
I
to
was,
like balance all those and put out different forms of music related stuff. It can take up a lot of time, you know.
yeah, I was doing Twitch clips for a while, or for a little bit, and then I started doing short form content. I would take a tutorial that I was doing live on the spot, and then edit it into a short afterward. I kind of slowed down on doing those just because uh, sometimes you get lost in putting out too much content instead of what your actual focus needs to be,
Exactly.
Yeah.
or like what it needs to be. Like for instance, I now am starting to make long form YouTube content, but it's just kind of a side fun little thing,
Yeah.
making commentary, react type videos, and it's just fun to me. But editing does take a long time. But
Ugh.
I then
Editing
just
videos,
remember, yeah, I just remember to keep it in perspective that if I start to feel overwhelmed, as long as I'm doing Twitch consistently and I keep that number one going and doing music, that's all I need. That's what's making me the most happy. Everything else is a little bit of a side piece that I just kind of do whenever I feel like I'm caught up on a lot of stuff. I can afford to throw extra content out there for people.
Yeah. That's the way I see it too, because I'm prioritizing more of this kind of content and the other content that I have as well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because again, at the end of the day, my career goals as a musician. That's it.
Exactly.
Like as a successful musician, to where I can call that my career for my life, and be financially free off of that. But again, that takes time.
a lot of time, that's for sure.
But Twitch has been great for really getting to know people and getting my music out there.
Yeah.
And there's so many
also,
different
like,
elements.
Exactly. And also Fearless had said like multi-streaming is amazing, but it's taxing as well, and you need like a really good internet and PC from what I understand. And which I can agree with that too. It takes a lot out of your system. Like if you want to stream like on Twitch and Instagram at the same time, which I think Chris Perkins does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. But he uses two separate devices though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's how he
that's
usually
different.
does it.
Oh, okay.
But like in general,
Yeah,
if you're trying to do it on the same device, yeah, it can be a really demanding thing.
I feel
Which is where I found under the belt.
that my perspective might be off on this, but I just kind of feel like if you're doing it on one platform, that's probably enough. You can specifically
Yeah.
Twitch is probably enough because you can lead other people to Instagram, and then just depends on what your angle is. Like me, again, musician, I do my social interactions and stuff like that live on the spot on Twitch. It's way better to do it live than to create a music video or a video of it on YouTube. It just doesn't feel like it connect the same way. But with Twitch being the main hub, it can send people to Twitter, it can send people to Instagram, it can send people to YouTube, and then they just get little nuggets here and there of other aspects. And then the main area they can connect with me on here and on Discord, and I'm active in both of those and consistent.
Right, which
I
is
thought
the
also-
way, honestly, I like it that way, honestly. Just because
I thought about
oh, I was just
how
gonna
the
say
stream-
that Go ahead, Soundbites. Go ahead.
No, man, go ahead. I forgot what I was going to say already.
You thought about what?
I got the
Soundbites.
brain of an elephant.
Elephants never forget.
That's what they say.
All right, did both of you
they
guys
say.
forget?
No, I'll say this though. I was gonna say that it is. I do agree with you, Eyes, in that like using Twitch as like the primary streaming platform. I prefer that honestly as well because, like you said, it's good to like interact with viewers in real time. With like Instagram and stuff like that, yeah, they have live options that you can do, but it's not the same, honestly. I feel like Twitch is just a good way just to, like you
But
said,
plus
connect people to other social medias, you know.
You hit burnout. You hit.
And don't you have to
burnout
pay
so
for Instagram for the
no.
live feature?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
So
But
I've
plus,
used
you
it
hit
before.
burnout very quick, very easily. If you hold yourself to a standard of, I have to post something creative on Instagram
Yeah.
5 days a week. I have to post a creative post on Twitter/X, whatever, every day of the week or multiple times a day out of the week. And I have to put out a weekly video on YouTube every, just week after week, right? And
It's
then
a
I have
waste
to
of your
stream
time.
5 days. It's just like, to me, find your niche, try and do other things on the side.
My good
And I could
caveat
be
to
wrong,
that
but
is I feel like the Stream Deck, as much shit as I talk about Elgato, I'm not going to talk about it today. But like, I think that it's like a virtual production device where it's like a crew of people at your fingertips, So when I record or when I want to clip something for YouTube, in my mind I've been thinking like, how do I make it production quality clips where I'm already doing it in the stream, like the transitions, the music playing, the joke that I'm supposed to be selling, and all that. I'm thinking about while I'm streaming.
How do you turn that into long form content that people would want to watch?
Or
on
like even
YouTube?
short form TikTok content, because TikTok is by far the most engaging in the short form, and as many people in 1 second basically. I was not gonna go on TikTok, but I was like, it's inevitable, I got to. So I'm thinking of how can I, like, while I'm streaming, in that moment, create all the edits that you would do in post right there in stream by scene transition, and then with or like putting up a new overlay or something.
I think there's a plugin in OBS.
There's so many real-time tools for that can be utilized in, like, instead of like spending time after stream editing things and making the cuts and stuff. I'm like, oh, these cuts can happen in stream while, like, it's a segment of my stream that in my mind, okay, I press the transition button, and instead of like editing in that transition later, I already did it while I was streaming. So
but sometimes that's where a full team comes in too.
Oh yeah, true.
Eventually,
a full team. They cost like $600 a month.
Eventually, as we continue to grow, I would love for this podcast to be all of us fly out to a specific area and meet in person, and then we have a board. Yeah, let's go, dude. I'm down.
Let's go to Miami.
We have a board operator. We have 3 mics, 3 headsets.
Have a table,
4 guests on there,
and we're just talking. And
then we have a camera guy, and then we have a clips editor. But I mean, that stuff takes time. You can't just.
Oh yeah.
And if we're going to Miami, I gotta work out because everybody down there looks good. Okay.
Start going to the gym.
I'm gonna be going to your stream with my shirt off.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment. Oh wait, I'm not in Miami. Shoot. Okay.
Miami.
Miami. I have a friend here, or a coworker, who's offering to take me to his studio, or to he and his friend's studio, in a couple weeks, and I'm thinking about going.
Poncho. Jakey Pakes.
Yeah, true. Jake Pakes did say, kind of adding to, I think, what all 3 of us are saying. I feel like I don't go out of my way to watch Insta lives or YouTube lives. People go to Twitch with the mindset of watching live videos, and that's very true.
It's so true. Because
unless
people
you're
just go on
fan.
Insta to either watch short videos or YouTube, just straight up videos, but not like a whole live stream. If you're going on Twitch, that's where you're gonna go for, and it's easy for us to just to grow a community because of that. It's harder on Instagram because we're not used to posting shorter videos, you know. And it's hard to grasp all of those from a long stream that we do from like 2, 3, maybe 4 hours, you know.
Mm-hmm. But it's just, to me, it's about prioritizing. Just prioritize the stream so you're there every time. Treat that like a job. Do it. Don't hold back. Stay disciplined. And then prioritize what's your end goal. Music, cool. Make sure you're doing that. If you've done a couple of hours of music editing, or even that 15 minutes like I've talked, done some 15 minutes of music production for the day, and you kind of want to do something else to shake it up in your mind and edit a video, cool. There you go. But, you know, keep your main goals in front of you and stay disciplined to them, because it makes everything else way easier, rather than trying to stay disciplined to creating an empire all in a day.
It's like, do you want a community or an empire at the end of the day? And
it sounds like the movie The Bronx Show.
The Bronx.
Well, the answer.
Yeah, he's like, would you rather be loved or feared? Feared.
He's like, can I just go back to the days when PlayStation 2 were brand new? I just want to unbox one of those again, please.
Dude, I seen one of PlayStation 1 burn a TV up. Like, literally a room caught on fire.
No way. That's wild.
Yeah, this idiot, though, is in the core. This guy was one of a stellar motherfucker, I tell you. He had his TV on top of his PlayStation. Like, back in the days, we didn't have, like, it was like a TV, like, back in a box, you know, it was not flat.
Or two
something like that. I'm not that old, bro.
What do you mean, dude? I have the tube.
Look at these grays.
The tube TVs.
But this thing was on top of his PS1, and he left it on, and his room caught on fire. It was wicked.
I don't know why he put it on his PS1, because you have to open the disc tray.
Yeah.
It opens from the top.
I don't know how he had it configured. It was in such a way. It was like Mr. Bean trying to stack rocks. I don't know. It was weird.
So you know what?
Where am I coming from? So quirky. Yeah.
This is an interesting question. Who are your inspirations?
Me or Promise?
Yes, you.
Oh shit,
you.
Well,
because
first thing that comes to mind is drum and bass and Pink Floyd.
I can see the Pink Floyd one,
and like underground hip hop, probably. So many inspirations.
Your favorites
jazz
of mine
music.
are always the ones that are in the sad keys, the sad tones. You know,
Mississippi John Hurt.
I always talk about Space Time. That's such a good song. And then Discovery.
Like Lead Belly, Mississippi John Hurt, Doc Watson. These are all old folk. You know, like Mississippi John Hurt is really what influenced me to start playing guitar the way I do now. But before, I was more or less a strummer. And I actually, at one point, I was like only playing the 12-string. And that's all I was playing. And I was coming up with like some kind of like Scottish-inspired, Irish-inspired vibes, you know, with the guitar, the way I would flat pick. But then after the 12-string, I switched to the current guitar I have. And I was heavily influenced by this folk community. So like folk music, like traditional, like Delta blues, traditional blues, like old school blues. Those are some of my biggest influences for guitar now. But then the psychedelic side, like Radiohead or the Smiles, those are heavy influences.
What about
Rage Against the Machine?
What about for some of your songs too? For instance, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that when you told me about Discovery when I had first heard it, it was something to do with Twitch that inspired you to write it?
Yeah. So the big streamers, like I do follow a lot of big streamers and try to insert myself into their community somehow. You know what I mean? Like try to make myself likable in their community. You know what I mean? So because I'm inspired by their process and how hard they've worked to get where they are today. And so even the like the level, like for example, those have been Twitch streaming for longer than I have, right? and they're just doing it. That it's just such an inspiration to me, whether they're good at like making music or not. The fact that they keep going and they've built such a large community is really inspiring to me. And it's like for me, I've always been trying to get the word out. What whether it's so I write music. I'm very much a what they call a protest musician, and I write music based off social occurrence, social basically social. God, I'm
Occurrences, I
losing the
guess.
word.
Current event,
Occurrences,
Yeah.
social justice type stuff. Like so,
current events,
especially with
more or
the
less, right?
like with
Right.
the folk communities, I really got inspired by that, like the Pete Seeger communities and those who not like the Lumineers and like I'm not talking about like the mainstream folk communities, like the real traditional folk communities where they're going. Those that style of music really inspired me because I came from one field to another. I've always been trying to make change, and I feel like putting the gun down type of thing and picking up a guitar is my way of making a change. Like
Mm.
through music, and so a lot of those influences. Dude, even Pink, like even Christina Aguilera, the Lauryn Hill, like everything about those musicians inspires me, even though you won't really hear nuances of their inspiration in my music. It's the fact that I'm making music what they gave me. Like
Right.
they gave me that like inspiration to pick up the guitar and not try doing what they're doing, but really like, wow, if they're doing it and I've been doing this my whole life, what's to say I can't do the same or come close or at least try? Who knows? Maybe I won't make it. Maybe my son will pick up in my footsteps or somebody else will pick up in my footsteps. It
But
doesn't necessarily have to be my
are
son.
you happy doing it?
I'm happy
And how
doing.
much worse off would you be if you didn't do it?
I think I'd be way worse off.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like I would
that
too.
I don't know about how to say happy. Like happiness is so on a range of like I'm happy for
Excuse me.
being a father, but I'm also terrified of being a father. I'm happy for like making music, but I'm also terrified of being vulnerable. I'm happy for all those reasons to be happy, but it's such a general term that like for music to really work for me, I have to be sad. Like I have to be miserable in order for that music to be good. Then Space Time comes out, and I wanted to write something upbeat or like Sheldon the Wonder Snail, and I was like, wow, that was so much fun. And so
No,
I,
but
I wanted to really
I
capture that
I
moment.
I empathize with the fact that I write sad stuff most of the time too. I'm a very content and happy person, but I mean, we all
Right.
have our moments.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it really falls under the fact that like I say this all the time, like music is really like a big universal language, and you can
I
really
find it
tell
very
some of this
corny when
music.
it's just happy music, though.
Yeah,
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
no, I was just saying that like everybody can really show themselves through their music and what they really are as a person, and
Mm,
that doesn't just reflect off what they write, but this type of stuff that they listen to, who they're inspired by, and that can
yeah,
really give you an idea of how to learn more of yourself and who you are as a musician and what type of stuff that you would want to write more of. And that's why
Right.
it falls into it doesn't really help for people that really just stick to one small genre that they like instead of just trying to branch out and learn more or just hear other perspectives on why this person likes this music or like when I says he listens to mostly like post-hardcore metal and things like that. But me, I'm a jazz guy myself. I don't really listen to him much, but I love Ice's music. His music is great to listen to all the time.
thank you.
I
So
love jazz. Coltrane.
Well, I think
so many great
that
people.
it helps that. I mean, I love jazz too, but jazz is very advanced compared to what
Oh yeah.
your typical listener will be playing.
Or
Yeah,
what I
that's
can
why
play
it falls
myself.
back on the other. It depends on the person because everybody's different. Some people
If
Exactly,
I
can
could
but
grasp
play it,
different
I
forms of
would be
music differently
happy.
than other people.
I think that I try to write a lot of around almost. I mean, my favorite band, they incorporate what they call jazz fusion in their stuff, and I feel like I do that too. Like I'll do chords on the guitar. I'm like, I don't know what this. I don't know what this is, but somebody pointed it out to me, and they're like, "Dude, do you just make chords? You have no idea what they are." I was like, "Yeah, actually, I kind of
Yeah,
do." And then I
true.
put them in a chord analyzer, and he's like, "Why didn't you just tell me it was a B major, B major seventh, ninth?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I don't know. I just made this chord." Yeah, but it's just, I just, I
That would
don't
be
know.
me to you in the early days. I was like, like you don't know which chord that is. It's a this, this, and this. Like,
It's easier for me to do that kind of wild stuff on guitar though, because I hear these wild guitar chords in my head a lot more than, because it's like the type of music that I listen to on a regular basis. I'm just hearing that kind of stuff in post hardcore. I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to write stuff like that. So just the influences just come out naturally.
yeah.
And same thing with lyric writing. Is people probably at this point know me for this. I'm kind of renowned for hating really basic lyrics, and so no, some of my lyrics, especially the yelling and screaming ones, sound like nonsense sometimes, but they really do mean something. Sometimes
You really
it's
have
something.
to listen to them to understand.
Sometimes it's really deep. Sometimes, or like when I was showing you a concept song, and the lyrics were, "Balls, look at those balls, they're bouncing." And that prominent just laughed, and he's like, "Dude, I don't understand why you would write a lyric like what does this mean?" And I explained it to him, and he's like, "Oh, snap!" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's something to it. It sounds ridiculous, but
It's like once
I
you
don't
explained
know.
it to me, I was like, okay, that makes sense now. Like I get it.
I take situations and really make them sarcastic, and kind of take things that I really thought were dumb and kind of made me angry, and really just make it sound silly and almost just making light of a situation.
Yeah.
Sorry, this podcast is not about me. Sorry. Soundbites. Go.
You're good, man. We're all talking.
No, like I think that you're absolutely right on that front. Like it's about, well, when it comes to lyrics, for me, I'm a very much haiku style like lyricist. I really like to dwell into analogies or metaphors.
Yeah.
Or and some at some point, like some parts of some songs that I write, I intentionally don't want to rhyme. You know, like it takes a little bit more brain power to come up with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my influences for that. So I influences come like, it's really hard for me to like target any specific, because I used to be a raver too. So I would go to rave parties. So I was heavily influenced by the rave scene and drum and bass and Goa trance and house music. And that's another part of me that existed that no longer exists, but it forever changed me. I don't know why people don't like Nickelback, but I used to listen to Nickelback every once, like that Hilo song, like I thought it was dope, Coldplay, and I would listen to John Coltrane.
I know it's like kind of a meme to not like them. I just,
Right.
it's just their sound. It's very abrasive to me. I'm not just doing the hate train thing.
Everybody in the 90s sang like Eddie Vedder. So
the Jarl. What's his name? What's his name? Stapp from Creed.
Creed.
Stapp.
We're all right over. Is that
I don't
Creed,
remember
right?
his first name. Yeah, I think so. Brand new day, me higher. Yeah,
but then like Louis Armstrong and like John Coltrane and then like Leadbelly and all those other influences always sit in my mind while I'm playing something. So it's just like how if I could play jazz music, I would play jazz music if I knew how to play it. I was actually in a jazz band.
I think you could if it were your main source that you listen to all the time. It just kind of translates.
It's funny that I do like how often I listen to jazz. It's kind of like I listen to it every day. Like I have a playlist, on my Spotify. It's funny. I have times when I'm listening to different genres. Like in the morning, sometimes I really like to hear death metal. The first thing I did when I wake up was like hearing some death metal, or some LP. Go listen to some LP or Rocky, ASAP Rocky in midday. When I'm like getting dinner ready, I throw the jazz playlist on. Like it's just like kind of it's just different
That's good
times
to
of
have
day,
a
friend of different.
diverse
Yeah,
taste.
and then there's Greek music. I grew up Greek dancing, and I hated it. I wanted to do I wanted to do karate so bad. You know, my mom didn't let me do karate. Still hate her for that, but you know, it's fine.
Hey,
But you know
love
what I
your
mean?
mama. Come on now.
She's right here, Emmett. She's
Oh, that's right.
reincarnated
That's
as
right.
Emmett.
You're saying that in your Thursday stream. Shit.
Right.
Emmett, what
Tommy,
are
you
you
had a
doing?
fun fact. What was your fun fact?
I was saying that my fun fact is like back when I was in high school, I did listen to a little bit of Blink 182.
Blink 182 is really good. Like
Yeah.
their Anthem album and Take Off Your Pants
Yeah.
and Jacket album. Those were good albums. And then my main complaint in Soundbites, you've seen me chat this multiple times, probably about because people ask about mastering and the loudness levels of mastering. I was like, just don't go like the general is like the negative 14 loofs, and I'm like, just feel free to stay there. You don't really need to go louder than that. Anything louder, you're gonna sound like Blink's new album, which is it's just so loud. It's ridiculously, and it
Just for
bothers
no
me
reason.
a little bit.
Yeah.
It could be like a form of protest against the digital empire who says, "Hey, it has to be this loud."
I
know,
think
'cause
the typical form of protest to it, though, that I've understood is people will intentionally just not make it loud because they don't
Yeah.
want to participate in what's called
Right.
the loudness war.
Yeah, it's
That's
interesting.
true.
Like I like yesterday when I was not yes yeah it was yesterday when I was doing feedback, we were talking about this very issue. Like we had a trap musician come in and he makes really good stuff. It's ear. I still have it in my mind every time I leave stream. It's like it's just an earworm. I can't. And then every time he comes back, I'm like letting him know. It kind of also like feeds their ego because I like remember their songs and they're like earworms. I'm like, dude, I can't get your song out of my head, type of thing. And people love to hear that, right? But like he was talking about mastering to -8, you know, which CD's like -11 lufs. -8 is loud, and
Yeah.
it really is like genre dependent, because if and how things are mixed. Sometimes, like even lately, the last two songs, I've gone over my threshold of -17 for a mix, and it just sounded right. And if I turned it down, it just didn't sound right. It just didn't work. And
So
so I
can
was
I
like, mm-hmm.
can I sound super inexperienced? And I call myself a mixing and mastering engineer because I feel like
Yeah.
my mix and masters are pretty decent.
I think they're
But
pretty good.
I don't know what the lifts are. I always master off
Oh.
of the RMS, which is your average sound, and I've
Yeah.
been told those are interchangeable terms. The RMS for me
yeah.
was always the goal is always -2 or -3.
Yeah,
right
-3 is
there.
pretty much. -6 is around, I'd say 14. Like it could be like you can compare like if you just do it long enough and you see, oh, -3 is going to be somewhere around -15 lufs or so. You know, it's going to be loud. But like
Okay.
it's the mastering engineer. If you want it to sound like that, the mastering engineer is just gonna turn it
But
down.
the thing
you know?
exactly the thing. Wait. No, I mean as the mastering engineer, I put it
Uh-huh.
at that.
At the
My mixes are super thin, quiet, and
yeah.
you can see visually that they look balanced. There aren't spikes everywhere.
Yeah, I remember you were saying you do some like white noise tests again
Yeah,
with your
use the
mix.
pink noise mix. So
yeah.
I make a regular mix while I'm producing.
Mm-hmm.
I pink noise mix it just to refresh my ears. It's like having a fresh set of ears on the song. And then I do a third mix on it. And this is how I do it for every single one of my releases. That way I get humbled every single time. And then I can redo the mix, and then it's very, very balanced. And then I start compressing it, limiting, all that stuff. Then I really hear other things that stick out that need to be mixed, and then I mix while I master.
Okay.
That's a new technique too, the mix while you master. People are doing that a lot. I like to save my ears. I generally go back to my mixes, especially with my own music. I generally will go back to, like, even with the current masters that I have, I was like, oh man, this didn't sound good as I wanted to in my car, my AirPods.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the guitar. I'm gonna completely cut the guitar out, and then I'm gonna go back in the mix and do that, and then I'm gonna go remaster it again. And I get caught up in doing that, especially with my own music, because I'm like in my own head. When somebody else sends me stuff, it's like kind of a breath of fresh air where I don't have to worry so much about going to a mix because, they just
What
want
you
it
have is
mastered.
what you have.
Exactly. But if I had, if they said, here's my stems to go with the master, just in case you need to remix it, I'm like, that's a completely different
Like,
beast. But
that's an extra $3,000, dog. Sorry, that's a lot.
You're looking for
yeah,
wow right now.
Because I don't know if you reductive EQ'd this. I don't know if you panned anything. I don't know.
seriously. Especially if they don't edit it. If they don't edit it, then that's a
Man.
mixing
That's an
engineer's
Big ass
nightmare.
hassle.
Big
Every
L.
mixing engineer hates editing. Every single one, I think, in my opinion. I hate editing. I really don't like
When
it.
you say edit, though, do you mean what exactly? Like renaming tracks and making sure
No,
they're all
like more or
lined?
less like lining up stuff and
Like splitting
crossfading
dude,
stuff and
and
things like
splitting
Dude,
things
yeah,
and yeah.
dude, that has to be done. You're not gonna
Yeah.
send a mix to a mastering engineer and
Oh
say,
yeah.
get out.
People will though.
just send you like straight up
And
raw files. Like
I'll send it back to them. I'll be like, you're gonna pay a lot of money if you don't do the editing work as much as you can.
Yeah, exactly. So back to what are the LUFs though versus RMS? I know they're kind
So
of
the looks is
interchangeable and
more of like your
synonymous, right?
momentary. So the RMS, well, as
Is
far
your
as LUFs,
average.
yeah, there's the average in peak and RMS, but I think LUFs are more like your short term. So there's two basically ways of measuring the sound. There's the short term and momentary. I think the momentary is like shorter than short term. So how loud it is like in a very short period of time. And then there's your short term loudness. How loud did the song get at a certain point of the song? Was it loud here? And then the LUFs overall are an average basically of the peaks, like the short term peaks and the momentum peaks. And it's just like kind of like an average, I think, of all of that. I guess would be the
Thank you Insta360 for
right.
I lost topic. As far as
oh shit, it did this on its own.
Yeah, you did
Yeah.
this and it was like big
It
zoom.
zoomed in.
Oh.
So if I can try to break it down from how I'm hearing it,
Yeah, I like that.
explaining it to myself like I'm 5. RMS is the like the average loudness. The LUFs are the average
lowness.
Yeah, because there's a different. There's even the K
right?
system.
Is that
There's
correct?
like the K system too. There's different loudness metering. Before LUFS was a thing, it was the K system, and it's just another. Yeah, they're both. Yeah.
And I suppose I feel like I'm risking sound like an idiot asking this because I remember reading about it and someone responded with a comment because somebody else was asking about it on a forum page or something, and their response was, if you don't know what LUFs are, you shouldn't be mastering. You're not a.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a kind of a not cool answer.
No, that's some
Right.
bullshit. I think because
Yeah.
I think it's just a
LUFs
full.
for me
Yeah.
was like a new term. I didn't hear that until a few years ago.
You don't need to really know I think the intricacies. I feel like I don't know the complete intricacies of it as well. Like I feel like it's just an overall loudness of the full scale of the song, and it's pretty straightforward, I think, from that perspective. But RMS is literally like an average, but it's like it's in real time. It's like showing you right there what you got, but it's not going to show you the overall picture once the song's done. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Right.
it's not going to give you a number at the end. If you're hitting -3 in your RMS values, it's what you're hitting, and it's going to show you those momentary, but it's not analyzing from start to finish. LUFs are, so that's why there's their momentary and your short-term analyzation of loudness, and I think LUFs just combines all that into a full-scale format of how loud was this song from start to finish, because songs can start quiet and they can end loud, and so it usually defaults to the loudest part
Some
of the song.
songs really have a lot of dynamics where it is very quiet at the beginning,
right?
And like,
especially classical
and
music.
it's one of those things you don't want to boost those quiet parts.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so
and even
dynamic.
mixing classical, it's done at -20. It's like very low mixed. Like
Really?
the way, it's like
I believe
I think
that.
it's -24 LUFs, which is extremely low. That's lower, or -23. But the radio stations, when you submit a song to the radio station, many of the times they won't ask for your 48K mix. They'll ask for an MP3 at 44, and they'll ask for it to be at negative 24 left, so really low.
Even DistroKid doesn't ask for 48. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason the radio stations do this is because every single radio station has their own limiter that they custom build. Like Power 106, I don't know if you guys, they have their own
Okay,
custom.
that makes
That's
some
why
sense.
every radio station has their own sound, because they have their own custom limiting modules that they make. So when they play your song, if it's at negative 24 lufs or whatever, they have enough headroom and they are ensured that you're not going to sound bad.
And Fearless agrees.
What's that?
Fearless-
Mixing
Fearless-
orchestral stuff is a pain, yeah.
Have to be careful making anything like. Yeah, I've done a couple orchestral things in my production, and it's so finicky. It can be more quiet than anything else in the mix, but it distorts every time.
Oh,
It clips
Yeah.
somehow, and it's so weird. But they're just powerful. You just have to mix it correctly.
And then there's the caveat between mixing classical and then scores, like if you're doing a soundtrack
Mhm.
and it's like the storm drums are playing and it's all this. Some of those mixers can be loud because they're like, it's not an orchestra. It's like genre. It's like soundtrack music. So there's
it's
even
almost
applications for
a
that.
lot of. It's almost sometimes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a lot of transients sometimes where it's just quick hits and it's not anything that's drawn out on a longer length.
Right. And then horns are pretty loud too. Like,
Mhm.
so you want those to stand out.
The nice
and-
thing though that I wanted to point out is when Ozone added the reference
Oh
feature.
yeah.
Dude, that is so valuable to be able to immediately reference a song that I'm trying to master, a song that I have to sound similar to mix and master quality of another song. And I don't have to create an entire weird channel workaround thing in Ableton to do so. I can just put it in there and analyze spots. Oh, you want me to stop?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I'm talking to AI. Talking to my camera.
No, I'm
It's
just
like
kidding.
chill out.
Chill out, Cam. You keep zooming in on me.
He said, "You too, Eyes. Shut up."
I gotta pee real quick, guys. I'll be right back. Just gonna
Yeah.
take a pee.
Okay.
I will say this, eyes like.
I won't leave my microphone on. That happened before. You can hear me like full
Oh,
stream.
God.
Oh, please. We need it. We need it. People might sub.
Right?
In that last stream I had where the band was here, you could hear there's a point where I walked in the bathroom and forgot to turn my microphone on.
Oh God.
That's all
It
right.
was funny. It was just a full stream piss. There was no like. That would have been funny though. I would have been all about it. Be right back. BRB.
Okay.
Alrighty. I will say this, eyes like in terms of like what he was talking about earlier with like the whole like radio thing, how if you like submit their music, they're gonna turn it up or down depending on just like on the level
Like their
of the
standards.
song. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that really makes sense because it depends on the radio station what type of music they usually play and things like that, of course.
Yeah.
If you have like a classical station, you're gonna want to keep those tracks at like a low level. Generally, because when it comes to classical music, they're really dynamic.
It's funny.
On its own, and the way they usually record their stuff too. Like in a big hall, for example, they're gonna get different types of acoustics depending on what.
So
your
that makes
part is
sense
and
why
what you
those
play.
AM stations that I used to dig and find that played classical were super quiet, right?
Yeah. Because
makes a little
if
more
you turn
sense.
those up and then you have like an intense part in the song or something, your ears are gonna get blown up. And that's why
That's
a lot of
fair.
like classical songs in general, like you have certain parts, like a trombone part, you're gonna want to play super soft at this part, and everything's got to be orchestrated correctly and written correctly to correspond with the other instruments and other parts in a different section of a song.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. That's good. I'm learning new stuff here too.
I've been
Very
learning
cool.
a lot, especially with the whole like RMS thing and all that stuff. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think I finally understand the difference between RMS and LUFS. RMS is just the peak loudness. LUFS are the peak quiet,
Yeah.
or like the average loudness and the average quiet.
So you would say like loves are more along like the threshold, basically.
The
Would it fall
LUFS
under that
are
similar category?
LUFS are like in that dip. So if you have a dip in your song that realistically goes from 12 decibels to 3, how quick does that happen and like go down and back up? And what's the average happen? Because it's not, you're going to see the
Oh,
meter go down to 3, then back up to 12. But what's the average say? It's going to go down to like 7 or 8, then back up to 12. Just in that,
right.
it's just like whoop. So I think from what I'm getting, is the lifts are the average times how
How much are
how
like the
often
waves
it gets caught.
moving? Like how much of like a
Yeah,
threshold, basically.
yeah, I think so. That's what I'm guessing, and it sounded like I was kind of on the right track.
I
So I'm
think
hoping
so.
I was.
I
That's
think
kind of
it's
what I
something that we're
understood.
both trying to like understand, basically. So
Yeah, I mean, I thankfully understand RMS, which is your average loudness,
right.
but yeah, and that's a completely different meter versus peak loudness, and you want your
That's true.
peak and RMS to marinate nicely together.
To marinate.
Yeah, I guess coexist. Yeah, something like that. How do you want to run this? I mean, you're the host. Are you still streaming after this? Do you want to
Yeah,
open it
probably
up
just for like
for
a.
chat to ask questions?
I did want to open up the chat to ask the questions towards the end because we are reaching. We're at that 2 hour mark, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
All
we
right,
can open
I'll
up
let
the chat
you
to ask
take that
questions,
announcement.
and then after we finish things off, and then I'll probably stream for a little bit, just hanging out with chat for a little bit longer.
Yep. Anybody have questions for us or our special guest Soundbites?
Yeah, do you guys have
Now's
any
the time.
questions you want to ask us or Soundbites or anything? I'm kind of
Yep.
curious what you guys got.
Yeah, me too.
Is that an egg?
Ooh,
Boiled egg.
I
Okay.
love hard boiled eggs.
No
They're
salt,
so
no
good.
pepper.
I prefer them with salt, but they're
Me
good
too,
just like
but
I
that
try
too.
not to put too much salt on them.
yeah, you know what
They're
I'm saying? We're
super
getting
good.
old now.
I always
Can't
I always
sodium.
put salt on a plate and then dip
Like a
it.
haggy.
They give me gas. Oh my god.
Look at that.
What time is it?
Perfectly
What's up,
cooked
Laggy?
too.
Good to see you.
5
Yeah.
minutes in the Instapot.
Oh, you do the Instapot. I have a little
Mhm.
egg cooker. It cooks 3, 6, 7, like 8 to 10 eggs at once, and just
Yeah.
cooks it through steam.
The Instapot does it. It's
So we
perfect.
opened up the chat room for questions for you or us Soundbites. So if you,
And
but I
fearless.
also want to extend that to you too if you have questions.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
about to
I
say
have questions about prominent.
that. Sure,
Like
what's
about was Fruity Loops your doll of choice? Is that the only doll you use? Don't.
Yeah, pretty much honestly.
Uh-huh.
It was one of the first. It was the first one that I was introduced to by one of my other friends, like back when I was in middle school. And he was like, "Oh, this is how you make beats. Oh, this is cool." And I heard like a tiny bit about like the other DAWs and stuff. Like I was still new. Like I didn't know what a DAW was. I didn't know there was a name for it. I just called it Fruity Loops because that's what it was, and that's all I knew it
Yep.
as. So like, he let me use like his computer sometimes when I would be hanging out and stuff like that. He would like show me like the real basics of like how he made beats and stuff. And this is around the time I was just putting stuff into like the channel rack and just letting it play, like no mixing, no nothing, like none of that stuff. Like I didn't pan or anything, none of that. I just like threw some tracks together, just made it a certain length and just threw it out there. Like that was my like early stages of producing. Then as the years went by, like I got introduced to other DAWs like Logic, GarageBand. I don't like GarageBand, it's trash. But Logic was pretty
It's so
decent.
limited.
It's like a cheaper version of Logic, basically.
It's like a
Yeah.
very introductory version.
Yeah, and I couldn't do anything with it, you know? It's like I made like really basic stuff.
It's very limited. Very limited.
Oh yeah. But then I got introduced to Logic around like junior year of high school cuz we were taking like it was like a audio engineering class or something like that they had as an extra elective, and I was like, "Okay, cool.
Oh,
I'll try it
what?
a little bit."
Your school had that?
Yeah, I was surprised. I never heard of it until like somebody told me like, "Oh, you should try this out." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So we learned about Logic and tried to like learn how to mix songs and stuff like that on there, which I kind of got the hang of, but it was hard to grasp for me back then, especially because it was
Yeah.
Logic and I wasn't used to using like just like Macs and stuff like that. So we would what our project that we had to make towards the end of that semester was we had to make our own arrangement of a Christmas tune. So everybody had like their own assigned like Christmas song, and we had to like make and mix our own Christmas song, like an arrangement of it.
What song was it?
I'm trying to remember. I forgot what it was called, but I remember like the bridge of it or whatever. It's just like Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Something like that.
Da, 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 da.
That might have been it, but I don't remember. It's so long ago. But like over the years, I got introduced to Reaper as well at one point. And I tried Reaper, and I thought it was pretty cool, but it's such a huge learning curve, and I was like, this is too much for me. It's so much to learn, like tutorials just out the ass. I just like it was overwhelming. So I just like went back to Fruity Loops, and it still is my primary DAW to use. And I've learned so much more about it, and I'm still learning more about it to this day and figuring out how extensive it is and how much you can really mix with it, and I love it, honestly.
A lot of people made hits on that. You know?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Reaper is definitely... I was thinking of getting it just as a backup in case, I don't know, Studio One goes wrong or something, but it's customizable, but like you said, it's open source, and you can literally customize it to whatever you want, but through like Python scripting, which, you know, you can probably ask Chat GPT to do, because I don't know how to write. You know, I see like there's other streamers I see using it, and it's like, yeah, okay, it's pretty stable. So I'm considering, I don't know, just learning it, but as well as Fruity Loops. I used to use it when I was younger, but I think for beat sequencing, it's kind of ahead of all the other dolls for that, you know?
Yeah, I could.
I don't know why Studio One hasn't.
FL Studio has like a lot of like a lot of people really use it just for like either making beats or just like EDM type stuff. That's what it's.
Oh yeah, I see Soldier Boy using it all the time, like in his streams. Like.
Oh yeah, I do watch his streams too. They're entertaining.
Yeah, he used to live across the street from my friend, so we'd see him when they were like Laggy Haggies in chat, and it was one of the band members that was here, and Soldier Boy lived across the street in this, you know, it was like in Porter Ranch, California. Who else lived there? Fuck, I forgot his name, but it was funny. Like. He would be like, "Oh, you guys are playing some music today?" Like, "Yeah, man, you want to come hang out?" Now we're chilling, you know. Like, you know, I wish he would have hung out with us, but we always said hi out front. Yeah, he was super cool.
That's what's up. That's pretty cool. Actually, I'm curious about this for you, Soundbites, because Fearless asked a question for the chat. For all of us.
What are your creative processes?
Yeah, what are your creative processes when something pops up in your head? And I'm curious to know what your creative process is.
Oh, that's a good question. Record it immediately. That's what my stream is kind of about. I've written hundreds, if not thousands, of songs back in my days, and to record the songs that I've written is so hard. It really is a lot harder because you have this preconceived notion of how the song should be. Whereas when I come up with something right away, like you said, when something pops in my mind, I record it right away. And I think that's the beauty of, it's kind of a Frank Zappa type vibe when I'm talking about this. Like, the reason I say Frank Zappa, because if you listen to like any of Frank Zappa's recordings, they're much different than his live performances by virtue of, you know, that's what he wants. So, he completely changes directions when he does live shows with any given song that he's ever performed. And for me, that translates to, if somebody wants to hear my recording, like say I do make it, say people want to see me live, I'll probably perform my song much different than how it was recorded. But the recording was that inception of the idea. And so that's the beauty of it. So when people hear that, they're like, this is when it happened. Like, it came up with this idea right then and there. And that, for me, recording that moment, and even if it sometimes doesn't work, I make it work. There's been many times where I'm like, oh, I'm just going to record the bass right now. And then I'll go back and re-record the bass. And then I end up finding out, like, oh shit, I actually tried to re-record the bass, but I never got it like it was the first time, when I was just vulnerable, and it was maybe I screwed up. I can always patch that up later on, do some surgery, like, you know what I mean? So I just
Yeah.
capturing that moment right away is the most important thing to me, especially if you know how to record and you're already in the mindset of it. That's how Prince did it too. Prince would be in the studio just overnight and living in the studio, and then he just write stuff and come up with it and record it right away. That's probably why he has more songs than I think Duke Ellington, or him and Duke Ellington are like on par with like having the most releases of music. I don't know who else
Oh,
nowadays. You probably can compare it, but like,
I can think of a
but
musician that a lot of
uh-huh,
people probably don't know because he's a smooth jazz pianist. His name is Brian Culbertson, and he has like crap
uh-huh.
tons of music in his discography because he's always like coming up with ideas. He's always in his studio, like hanging out. Like he streams on like YouTube and stuff too, and like he's always like coming up with like music and different ideas and everything, you know. So it's always just great to see, just like that creative mind just constantly going, and it's like you don't want to lose a creative idea that you had because once you get that idea, it's just like, oh my gosh, this could be amazing, you know. Let me get this down right now, like.
Exactly. And is that how you guys work too? I mean, do you just get it down right away?
For me, I don't have access to like record stuff right away,
Mm-hmm.
all the time because I'm either always at work or just other places or things like that. But for me, I usually write it down. Like I have like a chord app that I can use to like write down chords and chord progressions and things like that. So I either write it down in there, have it on the piano app that I use to like write down the chords and save it for later. And the way my creative process usually goes is I like to really visualize in my head. So like for me, I can hear the notes and the chords in my head. Each different type of chord, whether it's like major or minor, it can give off a different vibe or a mood for me. And for me, when I'm writing, I'm always writing stories in my head, like a story that would really be great with this, and like how I can see like the scene getting set up and stuff. So like I'm literally painting a picture in my head as the song is getting written. And the more stuff that I choose to add to it that feels just right with this, that adds to the element of the story, that's where the music really starts to shine for me. And then once it starts to stack together, it just keeps adding up more and more, and then that creative process just keeps elevating up, and the picture just starts to come together, you know. And that's just a wonderful
Oh
feeling
yeah.
for me. What about you, Eyes? I'm curious now. Like your
I'm looking
creative
up now because
process.
the way I have my
On my way up on your giant
yeah, I'm sandwiched in between. I'm the
78
cream
inch
filling
screen.
right now.
Right.
For me, the
You're on
writing
the
part,
top, Providence on the bottom.
I've heard that before.
Like, sorry guys.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. My writing process, I actually have multiple methods whenever I take something creative in my head. It's sometimes I know something's important to me, so I do what Soundbites does and record it immediately. I get just pull out a video camcorder on my phone or a voice memo and just start. I'm like, okay, that's the part for a guy like that. Cool. I need that in my head. Other times it's a lot more of a risk type situation and a trust type situation, I guess, is where if I hear a song in my head and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Let me record this real quick. Sometimes I'm like, no, nope. If it's a good song, I'm going to remember it.
Mhm.
If it's a hit and it's going to be something that I should write, I'll remember it. If it's not, I'm gonna forget about it and I can
Yeah.
just move on. And it's kind of a very nice kind of organic feeling just to let go and move on from something that you think is great in the moment, but sometimes it's not. But you can also sometimes tell when something's good, like you're either going through something or you know somebody else is going through something and you start creating a story in your head. I too as well either create stories in my head or write about past experiences that finally come out to the surface for me. And
Mm.
sometimes it comes off in sarcastic ways. Sometimes it comes out in a lot more of a deep emotional way.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting to me is sometimes I find the songs that to which I'm most connected and affect me the most, it seems like they're completely overlooked by everybody else. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is gonna affect somebody. Like this is gonna be super emotional for somebody, and nothing. And I'm just like, ooh, dang, that sucks. But and I guess method number 3 is when hearing it in my sleep. I have dreams about it. One of my more recent songs that I've written that I'm writing currently is I was like waiting in line at a DMV, and then out of nowhere, it actually woke me up. I heard panned hard right these lyrics and these chords, and I woke up, got my voice recorder or camera or whatever, recorded it, and then went back to sleep. And I referenced it hours later, and I was like, oh yeah, that is good. Okay, let me write that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the creative process is just taking what you have in the moment. Sometimes it's letting it go and seeing it'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, man.
And then there, I know people who write songs like, and this is not uncommon with even like big bands out there, like is where they'll write a bunch of songs, and then the production company will be like, this is good, use this, and I'm very much anti that. I feel like I'm not gonna, if I write a song, I'm recording it and I'm releasing it, and I'm not gonna like, oh, this works, because I found like some of the stuff that didn't work for me worked for others, and that ended up being like, and I'm by no means a Spotify freaking legend or anything, but like I'm pretty proud, like, wow, one of my songs got 6,000 plays or more, and I tried to go back in that direction, but I couldn't. It was just that song resonated with somebody.
Yeah.
And it resonated with people in fucking Japan for some reason.
So sick, dude.
So I'm going to Japan again. Yes, I'm there. This time Tokyo. No, but like, I used to live in Okinawa actually, but like I feel like wasting, like, writing a bunch of stuff and then recording it and then sifting through like a like a combing through it. It's like a waste of time for me. I
don't really put a lot of time into trying to dig through ideas.
Right.
I've probably at this point thousands of projects that I'll probably never revisit.
Oh,
but the ones that are important to me and that I know are really good, I revisit them, or the ones that have potential. It's like I'll revisit them, or just stay focused on what I'm doing now. Exactly. And if you're lacking motivation, sometimes it's good to maybe revisit projects. See if you can get some inspiration, motivation.
Yeah, and it's not to say that I haven't like done that. Like, there's a couple songs I'm about to release which were old projects. They even had demos attached to them from SoundCloud demos. But I've noticed this a lot, and it's been inspiring me too. Because when I write a song and release, it takes about a month to get it all done and gone. I thought it was fast, but then I met motherfuckers. Met motherfuckers on Twitch though.
No, because
especially the fucking SoundCloud artists who throw shit out.
I think mine are fast. I think mine are fast because I'm like I'm like if I can write a song, produce it, mix it, master it, and do it all within a year, that's fast to me.
Absolutely.
But somebody more recently was like, that's a long time. I'm like,
oh
really?
yeah.
But I'm used to I used to sit on songs like 8, 9, 20, 1, 2. I had a song that I released last year that I was sitting on it for like 6 years. So I would hold perfectionism to such a high standard, and that's why it's so much easier just to kind of let go, make it good enough, not sloppy. It sounds rock solid. Bam, let's go. And I just don't sit on them anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Fearless Moon said, yeah. Oh yeah, you guys got it.
But Pakes has one too.
Yeah, he said that he finds making music that you make specifically to not release it is actually really good to do. Just make it for the sake of making it,
For yourself.
Which I definitely agree with that.
That takes a lot of restraint and patience, and it's almost humbling to yourself because you're not doing it to impress anybody. You're doing it for yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
You're doing it just for the art of music,
just because you need it therapeutically, maybe, or for reasons like that I haven't said. Like those times where we do write something and it comes out the way we want it to is rare. I always feel like it comes out the way I want it to after it's done, and then I've explored all these other options. But I never have I never have something in my mind like how it's going to be.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't like
My
think
last
like,
2 releases were
uh-huh.
pretty much exactly what I wanted them to be.
Sound wise, I got my sound, but like where the song's going to go, and sometimes it's just like hitting the classic
And I'm thankful for
checklist.
that, of course.
The classic checklist is there a verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, and that's an intro, outro. Like.
But sometimes I don't. I try to think a little unconventionally.
Right.
Like, is there a verse, chorus, verse, a weird spot, bridge, and then you expect to go back to a chorus, but it goes to this weird ending that just turns it into a different song.
Yeah,
that's kind of genre dependent too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
So
and I feel like
it's all in your writing style.
What's that?
No, I was saying, like, I guess it makes sense to like kind of have like a base template to like use, but at the same time that can really restrict you in some ways too, because a lot of people tend to like stick to like some stuff can really sound a little bit repetitive, I guess, in those ways.
I guess like don't get stuck. This is another thing for creative process, and that I've learned, and I'm still kind of reminding myself fairly frequently, is don't get stuck on a great idea being just its own thing. Take that great idea and add it to a different song to really make that song take a weird turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And a great idea is usually not a great idea, right? It's usually the one that was more mediocre is the one that was the great idea, and essentially,
as a musician, if like you, I don't know how this is for everybody else, but some of my songs that were on my Are You Listening EP were like peak what I've ever written, and now I look back on them, I'm like, no, I've done way better. I've done way better since then. Like sometimes you get that thought where you're like, man, can I top this? Oh yeah, you can top it every time.
For sure.
Although I must say, before I had gear or anything, I was a lot more creative because I had less to work with. And so some of my older songs that I released on SoundCloud, like back in like 2009 or so, they were just really in the moment creative, didn't know what I was doing. So I had
some of mine were just experiment because I didn't know what I was doing with music production. So I was just twisting and turning knobs and making weird sounds. And I'm like, oh, that was actually kind of sick.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're not scared to make mistakes. Whereas now I am,
there aren't really rules per se, but you follow these standards. I guess there's that word again. I'm pretty sure. And
like with guitar, for example, it's like phase issues. Like that's just a rule and of it. Like, phase issues can make or break the sound of your guitar. It's always good to adjust phase. But when I had no idea what
I'm not
phase
experienced
meant.
with that.
You know
I don't
really
know what that means with guitar though.
Like if you're direct in and you don't have the microphone source, phase can be an issue in the mixing process, but that's if you have two like-minded waves, they cancel each other out. But like when it comes to microphones on a particularly like a drum set or acoustic guitar, unless the mics are farther away from the guitar, phase is always going to be an issue you got to grapple with. And it's really easy though. It's like it's just, but to make that mistake now, for me, is like I should have known better. But when I was younger and I was not I didn't care, So it was, and my ears, I trusted my ears. I think ears are really important, but also these other tools that we have, like Insight, which I use, like you guys were talking about the visuals and the feedback streams. Yeah. Insight's a really, really useful plugin. It's not that expensive. It's just like, especially with vocals, it has this feature. It's called intelligibility, and you can see whether or not the vocals are sitting right where they need to be. And 99 times out of 10, 100, it's accurate, And so that I like using my ears, but also like saving time using the AI stuff is I think I went off track. I went on a little diatribe here, but
we can move on to Pake's question. His dual piece question.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
I
I'm
forgot
starting to
about
get
chat.
hungry. I'm
Angry.
starting to get hungry. No,
Yeah,
not
me both,
angry.
man.
I'm all right. I'll read this one.
I can
got
feel
this
it.
one. Peg says I got 2, so we're just gonna take these one at a time.
All right.
Yeah, what's Pake's got?
He says, well, I'll read the whole thing, and then we'll tackle them one by one. First is a little silly. If you had to start over and could only pick one instrument to master to its fullest, what would you choose and why? Second, do you ever feel insecure about what you're writing and how others may perceive it? Maybe that was something more in the beginning. Don't know, but how did you overcome it? So, to the first question, that one's like, if I have to answer this question, that's like so annoying because, man, being a musician, being able to play multiple instruments, it's such a blessing.
It really
It's
is.
an
though.
amazing thing to be able to do. So if you had to pick one, that would be terrible. I'm sure that my answer would probably change throughout the years, just like my favorite band most of the time.
Mhm.
I don't like to ask people their favorite band because it always changes for the most part.
Yeah.
Anyway, at the current moment, probably electric guitar.
Okay.
Play acoustic.
Acoustic?
I haven't heard you play acoustic ever.
Oh, I play acoustic. I
I've
play
never
finger.
seen- have you
I
ever
play
streamed
finger
it?
pick.
You said you
I-
started with acoustic too.
Did you ever stream acoustic stuff?
Maybe a few times way at the
Oh,
beginning.
okay.
But I do finger picking, strumming, stuff like that. Yeah. I do a slow version of "Take on Me" by Aha. It's
Ah,
Such a
that
good
one.
song.
I love it.
I do a piano ballad version of "Welcome to the Jungle" by Guns N'
Nice.
Roses.
Dude,
Oh,
Dude,
it's like it's
Guns
a
N'
sad
Roses.
song.
yeah.
It's a sad song, dude.
Talk about a
Yeah.
fucking band that sounds amazing. Is Guns N' Roses. Seriously, like their sonic quality.
Really?
Yeah, I just love the way they sound.
Prominent. What about you? Sound dead. What about you for your instrument?
Ooh, this, like you said, it is a tough choice, man. It's like I've learned
I had
plenty
to
of more
answer it,
instruments
yeah.
through the other years. Throughout the years, I've learned multiple instruments. Like my main instrument has always been, it still is trombone, but
Nice.
I can play piano. I can play the iwi. I can play drums if I wanted to. Like I'd at least keep a groove and stuff like that. And I can, I guess, sing a little. But Eyes likes my vocals, but I don't think they're that good. But if I really had to choose, though, I would probably go with trombone, honestly. If I
Yo.
could choose any others. And that's because, like, trombone has always been to me, like, an instrument that's kind of been outcasted a little bit. It's not one of the mainstream instruments that you hear, like, on a jazz track or anywhere else. It's either always trumpet or saxophone.
Yeah.
And funny enough, when I first started out in middle school, like, when I was around 10, and they give you, like, a bunch of different mouthpieces to, like, try out and see which one you're most compatible with. I got trumpet and saxophone, but I chose trombone because that was like the next one that I got. But plus everybody else were like choosing those instruments. I was like, I don't want to be like them. Everybody is going those. So I ended up choosing like.
You talk about the trombone being like the under the radar type instrument. You know,
yeah, like
one
the underdog type.
the one that actually makes me mad that it's like a mainstream instrument now is the kazoo. I hate it.
What?
I hate it, dude.
Wait, what are you? What?
I hate the kazoo and the ukulele. Those are the
Whoa.
two. All due respect.
You straight up threw the kazoo in there.
People use
I never
the
would have
kazoo.
thought the kazoo, bro.
Yeah, that's a little
Yeah.
annoying.
Ukulele, I can understand though, because like
Ukulele.
ukulele is just
I love
like,
the
you see it all the
ukulele, man.
time.
Do you love the ukulele?
Yeah, it's
I think
cute.
it's a fun instrument, but it does.
I think I've
does.
had cringe experiences.
But yeah, like it's like
Soundbites,
saxophone and stuff.
Ukulele is so cute.
Aw. Dude, the
Soundboard still in effect.
14 kilobytes per second audio quality. I love it, dude. We
Yes.
need that MP3.
What
Dude.
about you? Soundbites,
Trombone's a good answer.
Okay,
What about
I'm
you?
not good at this, but it's the all-around goat of all instruments. It's percussive. It has every single note. It's the piano. If
Yep.
I wanted to learn something,
At the same time, I kind
It
of
would
want to
be
change
piano.
my answer to that because if you know piano, you can learn theory.
yeah,
You can
everything.
use any instrument. Yep, I changed
Everything.
my answer. Can I change my answer? Can I change my answer? Because piano is my number. That's the instrument I started.
You have 10 seconds to change your answer.
Oh, piano. Ah! Sorry, listeners.
Did that $64,000 question sound okay?
No, it was cutting out, but it's okay.
Oh,
I like the bit. It's okay.
Yeah, I think pianos definitely, because every note exists on any instrument is on the piano. It's also a percussive instrument. It could be a standalone instrument in terms of recording. Also guitar, though, for that matter, acoustic guitar, I would say more than electric, but it can be done with the electric, because the acoustic guitar has more percussive properties, and the piano, like I said, I don't know how to play it very well. I wish I did. I think if I were to learn something and take lessons, it would be piano. And then next, I mean, we didn't go into next, but next would be drums.
I can understand that
drums
with
are fun.
drums, because with drums, like, you're pretty much like the law man. Like, you make the
You're the
backbone
law.
of the whole band, pretty much. As long as you got a good groove going and you're able to keep that up, like, the rest of the band's gonna.
Man, I wrote my first
be able to
song on
communicate with each
drums, like the song called "Feel No Evil" that I released. It was the first song I've ever written my whole life on drums. I started on the drums, and there was so much more freedom starting a song out with the beat first that I almost dropped my
because you could just kind of go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you don't have to worry about anything. You can cut and paste later, and that's how I did. I just kind of played 20 minutes worth of drums, and then did some surgery later on, cut some stuff out that I didn't like, and brought in stuff that I did, and you guys know the drill when it comes to surgery and the DAWs, and it was so easy to build a song from that perspective. Even like bass has been a hard, like I've written a song on bass, but then when I listened to my release, which it's called The Basement, that was probably one of my least favorite songs I've ever released, and I always say if I can go back to it and redo it, I would, but it's already out there.
Yep.
It's done. It's Jover.
That's a perfect segue into the second question. Do you ever feel insecure about what you're writing and how others may perceive it?
Absolutely. How I overcame that was
Definitely.
through streaming. Just streaming, really. Just be stupid. Like that's
Like
how
what you and I were saying earlier. I self-deprecate as a joke all the time, and just
People
creates
don't-
fun content.
I don't think they hold it against you. I think people like seeing somebody who can do something,
Not take themselves too seriously.
right, and they're seeing it in real time, and they're seeing how you react. Even like when the band was here, I made so many mistakes that day, and I, like 10 years ago, I would have never let you know that happened. And streaming's made more. It's like more honesty. It's like it's made me
Makes you more
not
comfortable with yourself in a way.
yeah. And I think that I'm always like that feeling that Jakey Pakes was talking about. Let me go back to it. I highlighted it. Ever feel insecure about what you're writing? All the time. I think that insecurity drives my productivity.
Interesting.
That insecurity drives the elements of my song, and it's almost like, okay, I can either fight or flight. It's like that fight or flight response, or the tended befriend response. But like when you're frozen and you're there's all that, the saying is just view your audience naked. Remember that saying? I don't know if you guys ever heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like with public speaking,
Mm-hmm.
view your audience with no clothes or whatever. But on the flip side, they're viewing me without any clothes, like metaphorically speaking. So it's like I could either fall off of that building and just jump. I don't want to wait. That's a bad way of saying it. I can say, especially on Twitch, I can go for it and just cross the threshold of insecurity, or I can let it defeat me. And if I let it defeat me, you guys are gonna know, and then I won't be interesting anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You don't dictate your energy at that point, or your composure.
Your body's
Everyone else
taking
does.
over. Yeah, exactly. So I feel like the insecurity is that word is a threshold. Really, is whether do you want to cross over into the unknown and just go with it and like experience flow, because some part of flow, you're no longer yourself anymore. So insecurity no longer matters because you don't exist in the, and you're just flowing through the natural world. And so your existence is futile, and it only means something is if you go forward with it. And if you go back, then it never was. It's like it never became a particle in the realm of quantum field theory. It just fluctuated, but never got to the point where it was a solid particle. I don't know. Good analogy, I guess, but not really. But I was about to say like jump off, just jump, but I don't like that's that's not a good thing to say. No, don't jump. But even though Van Halen says jump,
No, it's leap.
leap,
Take the leap.
take a good leap,
Leap of faith.
quantum
Leap of
leap,
faith. Leap
Yeah.
of faith.
leap of faith. Yeah, exactly. So I think
Yeah.
the insecurity is what it really is, a form of energy, and anxiety can be turned into that. Like it can turn into reclusion and like freeze or fight, which not really fight in the violent sense, more just fight your urge to dwindle into a raisin, like
Mhm.
you know what I mean, and suck your soul dry, and then live in regret because you didn't do it.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the things I like mainly love about the anti-perfectionist community, I don't, or me or eyes, we don't want anybody to feel insecure like throughout the community, like everybody's welcoming and really cool with each other, and nobody really judges each other based on their music, of course, or just personalities at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So if people were to tend to make mistakes in here, we all laugh at each other at the end of the day,
Yeah.
We're not over here like, you really just did that? What the hell's wrong with you? Like, we're not over here like just like talking shit to each other or anything like that. Just based off the mistakes that we made. Like we'll laugh.
That'd be kind of fun though.
We'll laugh at ourselves, and just.
But do you feel insecurities about writing music, or do you just kind of feel that free anti-perfectionist problem?
It goes both ways for me, honestly. Like, especially when it's a song that I'm really invested into and I love the hell out of it. I'm like, okay, I can't wait to put this out there for people to listen to. Initially, when I'm first making it and trying to make sure everything is good in my ear, I get a little insecure because I don't know what people are going to think of this. I don't know how people are going to respond to this, I don't know if people are going to think like, oh, like you did this wrong, you did that wrong, like you need to start over or some ridiculous thing like that, And over time, like I can just show people like close friends and stuff like you guys, of course, like you guys, it's like, oh, I know I'm going to get a good opinion out of this or whatever. But at the same time, I'm not only sending music to people I know because I know I'm going to get a good opinion. I know because I know they're a lot more experienced than me when it comes to production and other things like that. I know you guys know a lot more stuff than I do when it comes to production. So those types of things, they make me a little more comfortable, and it makes me remember that perfection isn't really a thing that exists, and that we all need to just be comfortable with ourselves and what we really make at the end of the day, because everybody's going to make mistakes. Nothing's going to be out perfect, and that's okay. If it sounds good to you, it's going to be good. If you know that your music is good at the end of the day,
Yeah.
And those mistakes are important because they could also be like a beautiful oops.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you learn something from it
Yep.
at the end of the day, and that's how you grow right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Still
if you ever
suffering
feel
from a cold.
insecure about the stuff that
All
you
the time.
usually write, eyes.
Me, I was trying to think of a good way to figure out or how to say it. So I think I have it. I don't anymore feel insecure because because I'm going to answer it a little bit backwards. How do you overcome it? It's not really something that you necessarily overcome. You have to go through it.
Yeah.
Like
experience
I've written a lot of stuff that has made me feel very insecure about the outcome of it and what people are going to think. But you have to do it, or else you're never going to release it.
You never know.
You have
gonna
to
know
you
if it's
have
actually
to
good or not.
Yeah, I put out a lot of stuff that was cringe and stuff. Yeah, I tried to be a Nicki Minaj rap artist a long time ago, believe it or not.
No
kind
way.
of that's kind of where I
That's
started.
awesome.
Whenever I got my
I
first
didn't see that.
computer, it was with GarageBand. It was my first experience. I was like,
GarageBand.
or GarageBand, GarageBand.
I love it.
But I mean, it was. I was listening to a lot of Nicki Minaj, and I was like, "Yeah, this is it."
Oh, yeah.
And then one of my friends kind of laughed at it, and that was embarrassing for me. But now I look back, I'm like, "Yeah, this is bad," and I still have it. So, 100 gift subs, and I'll let you guys play it. But no,
Sounds
it's
good.
not. I'm just kidding. But it's more for me. I don't feel insecurities about what I'm currently writing because it is very refined compared to what it used to be. My writing style has matured a lot, and my personality and the things how I write is a lot more. It's in a lot more control than it used to be, and I know what I want out of it. Where I do, if I do feel any current day insecurities, it's about the old stuff that I've written. If people go
Yeah.
back to some of my older stuff, that's where I start to feel insecure. Like a
Yeah.
couple years back, like to my album on Spotify, Metamorphosis, under my old name Remediax. If they go back to that 2015, I'm like, no, please listen to this instead. This is what I'm currently doing. It's a lot different, way different, So it's almost, I don't hate the old stuff that I've written, and I don't want to dog on myself for having written it and done it. I'm proud of myself for doing it.
Yeah.
But I want people to really be able to relate to what I am now and resonate with the message that I'm releasing now.
Yeah, and be able to show people how much you've evolved over the years.
Yeah, and I
as a
think
musician.
the insecurities, again, you overcome it by going through it, and I feel like I've gone through it enough to where I just realized that when it's something that I'm writing, that's my time. That's my time to tell my story, and it's up to I'm almost more excited about how people are going to perceive it because it's as far as I'm aware, it's never exactly what it is to me. Other people
That's a good
perceive it in
point.
different ways, and it's so exciting.
That's a good point. When you brought up perception, I was thinking about perception is basically an event that happens post release, right? Their
Yes.
perception of your music, and that's where the insecurity also can set in. At least for me, is why isn't enough people hearing my song? It's so good, and it's to overcome that. I kind of like to use facts, like, okay, this is the second law of thermodynamics, which it's a physics thing, which entropy increases with time. The internet is full of entropy. It's just so much is being pumped out by so many people, right? That we're just
Petabytes a second.
Yeah, and we are
Milliseconds.
like a
Whatever it
particle
is.
within the sea of other particles trying to be noticed. So it like there's so much good music out there that has not been noticed,
Mhm.
and the insecurity that comes from that can be like dampened or like lessened by like I'm competing with a vast ocean that's competing at the same, or if not maybe more. Everybody's on their own, I guess, level of accomplishments, but it's like
Yeah.
this endless sea of entropy filled with all this information, i.e., music and other noise, is the reason that we're not getting noticed. But it's also like the next step for me. It's like, can I learn from this? Like we said earlier, can I cross the threshold of insecurity
Then
or not cross that threshold? The only way I cross it is if I learn how do I make myself more out there. So the next step for me would be more YouTube shorts, more TikTok shorts. Maybe everybody's got a different kind of formula how they're going to increase their likelihood of being discovered. But that in and of itself, even if I can continue to do that and nothing goes my way, I'm still bound to feel that same insecurity I felt months before I even came up with the idea to. So it's like it's gonna revisit you. Insecurity is gonna revisit you throughout not only the inception of the idea of the song, not only in the undertaking of the work and production.
It's called
of the
the
song.
enemy. It never
the
leaves
enemy.
you.
It's a yeah,
It finds new
always.
crafty ways to
Exactly.
always come back at you. So you
And
need
it's
to
gonna
find out. You need to find out as early as you can how to handle that enemy and how to deal with it, because it will never stop getting crafty and finding
it's
new
always
ways.
going to be. It's the devil is there.
You have
at
to
every corner.
overcome your
Yeah.
enemy. You can't blame others. You can't put that stuff on others. You have to handle it yourself. Be
Insecurity is
disciplined.
like
Being
that
able to
devil
take
on your ear.
accountability when you can.
Yeah,
Take
it's like the
accountability.
angel devil telling you, insecurity is telling you can't do it. Give up now. Hey, by the way, there are times to give up when it's taking up too much of your time and move on. Sometimes
If it's
just
literally
moving
hurting
on.
you physically too, you know. And
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have to do that to songs sometimes.
Yeah,
There
you
have
gotta move
been
on.
songs
Just
where
take a
I
step
put
back,
hours
you know?
into. No, not even taking a step back. Move on. I put hours into songs, and I'm just like, I want this to be good. I want it to be released because I love this. But there's something about it that's not. It's saying it, Chief. It's not hitting the cut.
Right.
And then just move on from it and on to the next.
Mhm.
You know. And
It hurts.
sometimes you legitimately have to let go of everything to find out what's valuable and important to you. And if your passions and stuff, whatever they are, you will very likely go back to them.
I mean, I might have to do a new Soundbite stream and completely change my Twitch name because I fucked up Soundbites.
How do you mean?
It was a project that I liked, and I can't stand it anymore. I'm gonna move on. So the new name's gonna be Sound something.
Visual bites.
I'm not getting rid of Soundbites, guys. You know how many I don't want that WEBR attached to it though. I want it to be simply Soundbites, and some lady who never streams she has that name.
I got it. I have their solution.
She wants me to buy it off.
Sound bites, but the I is the eyes. The 3 eyes.
Look at he's trying to tag himself in Soundbites' name. You see this?
Insert yourself
So
here.
self-absorbed.
Soundbites.
The
I'm just
prominent
kidding, I'm just
Soundbites.
kidding.
How about that?
Sound buys.
The prominent
The
Soundbites.
prominent sound buys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starring Brandon Nicholas.
Yeah.
Eyes, I don't know your real name, so can't go there.
Would you want to guess?
I
Aaron.
know what it is.
No, it's
Michael. Christopher.
My brother's name is Michael.
Joshua. Yeshua.
My brother's name is Joshua.
I think I do know. I think I remember this. Carter.
It's not Carter. You're closer with the names Michael and Joshua. Think about it.
It's kind of in his name already.
There you go. It's very in my name.
Yeah.
Anybody in chat want to guess?
Yeah. I know what it is already.
I know.
I'm not gonna
I
say it.
heard it once. I think I heard it once, and I don't remember now. Might have heard Aaron Carter.
Do you want to guess, or you want me to tell you? Because I don't want to just bag hold it. If you want to guess, I'll tell you. Casey got it.
got it.
Isaac. I said Isaac.
I
God
didn't
damn
even
it.
say Isaac.
You
I
didn't say
even
Isaac.
In my mind.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. That's right. Oh, you're like, my bad. You're right. I heard that. Okay. Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
I didn't know Isaac. That's very.
Yep.
Huh, I guess you do look like an Isaac.
Yeah, it fits. It fits.
Is that an
right?
insult?
Yeah.
Oh, that is an insult? That's an insult? Okay. Is that an insult? He's like, yeah, actually, yeah. You know what?
You
We'll
know
square
what?
up, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, matter of fact. Isaac or ISA?
My name, by the way, Nick,
It's a
rhymes
letter.
with everything
No.
terrible. So imagine growing up with the name Nick.
Nick is thick. That's not terrible.
Nick the Dick, skinny as a toothpick.
Oh, can we get some bars in chat, please? Thank you.
Definitely bars, yeah.
No, I hope we were able to touch on some interesting topics for you guys and
Oh yeah, this was
and
really
be
interesting.
able to hopefully answer some questions. It was very interesting for me as well. Soundbites. I hope it was
Oh, dude,
enjoyable
this was
for
so
you.
much fun.
And-
I'd love to do it again.
Okay. You already answered the next question I had, so I
Yep.
won't even ask it. So
Mind
I'll
reader.
Thank you guys for
Mind
the bars.
reader.
Big preach. Big preach.
Big W's in the chat for that one.
Yes, I appreciate all y'all coming
And-
to hang out with this podcast. So much fun
Yeah.
spending time with you, Soundbites. Oh my god.
Yeah, you guys do,
www.w.w.
Don't get your
Soundbites.
dub today.
Yeah, Soundbites. Feel free to introduce yourself one more time for those who may have missed it, and put your links in chat. Tell us where
Yeah,
we
tell
can
us your
find you.
socials, all
Oh,
that
should
stuff.
I? Can I? I
Yes,
can do that.
yes.
Definitely,
Okay.
please do.
Here's my social. You
Oh, your
ready?
social security number?
Oh yeah.
Sick.
You guys
Yeah,
need it?
give us your
Yeah.
address too, and your all that stuff.
You got
Just
it.
your PO
Don't
box. though.
forget the security card. The
Okay.
security code on the back.
We're
of
on
the
it.
security card.
I'm on it. Don't worry. I won't let you
And the
guys down.
expiration date too. You know?
Twitch.tv. Okay, and
Let's
your
go raid the Sushi
Spotify.
Dragon, guys.
Your Spotify is Of the Willow Tree, correct?
Yeah. I'm about to bring in my other stuff though, like my scores and stuff. I'm fitting to do this soon because I don't want like my scores to be outdated and like, oh, this is old.
Mhm.
That's not another thing that like the insecurity thing, you know, oh, this is old, this isn't going to resonate anymore. And how do I know the F what that means? You know, like really, I don't know what it means to say it's going to resonate or not with people. It's like
Mhm.
I've noticed that even like my kids, for example, they love vintage stuff. Like when I grew up, and I grew up with a Nintendo, or first an Atari, and then the Nintendo came out. It's the best thing. Then the Super, and so on, right? Everything graphics.
Yep.
So
Yep.
me as a child, I was conditioned to think that a better looking game was a better game, right? But
Yep.
our
Mhm.
like now the like especially with the younger generation, they're like vintage games are so playable.
Jakey Bakes and I were playing 64 last night, and
Yeah.
like we're playing a racing game, and I've said this many times, but he said it off cuff last night out of the blue. He's like, "Dude, they just don't make them like this anymore."
They really.
And I was like,
just don't make
"Dude,
'em like
they
that."
really don't." I was
I
like,
used
"It
to
was so
walk
nice
in
to
the
hear him say
snow
that."
for 100 miles.
But so before we get out of here, Moon has one more question. I don't know if it's just for you, Soundbites, because he just said your name. But what
Oh.
makes the project you are working on currently special?
Did I shout out myself on accident?
I gave you a shout out.
What makes it everything? I think it's just because it's coming from me. And if I don't value myself, then like
So
Yeah.
so you don't have insecurities about this one then?
I do have insecurities, but I still value myself to a degree to where I can get up every morning and get on the cami and the Mikey and talk to you. It's still like there's still insecurities. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, ah, fuck, I got to do this. You know, like, you know what I mean? So I think to a certain degree, because everything is never black or white. It's never like this or that. It's I live.
The older you get, the more you
dwell in
realize
the
so
gray
much is in
area.
gray. So much is
Yeah.
in gray.
Yeah, I
And it's
dwell in the gray
okay. It's
area.
okay. It's okay. You also learn that it's okay for people to disagree with you.
Exactly,
People have
absolutely.
different ideas.
I love it when people disagree with me. It's just like I don't like
No, you don't.
the monotony.
No, you don't.
Yeah, nope.
You do not like.
You're right. You're right. Disagree with me.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, what makes things special? Like, special, such a almost loaded term, because it's very subjective. It's very
It's
what
hard
is
to,
special
it's
to
hard to
you.
pinpoint. Sometimes it's just
Yeah.
a feeling.
So I think that the fact that it just comes from me, if it's special to you, because like Jack White said this, like when I write a song, I never thought it was going to be the song you would hear at every single baseball game, you know, like when they play it through the loudspeakers, right? And it's like he never intended the song to be the song that's played at all the ball games now. And he's like, so it led me to the belief that what I write is no longer mine once I release it. It's yours. It's whatever you want and how it's special to you. But the special part about it for me is the point of inception. You know, that's like the word of the day, by the way, inception. So, but it was that point where it hit me, and that's special. I think that's why we watch movies about people that go through struggles or even happy lives, you know, or we watch Zillow porn.
But
whatever the fact is.
This is the main problem about movies, though. Everything is black and white movies.
Absolutely.
They always skip the
has
gray
to be.
parts. They always skip, because nobody's going to watch a movie about just all the gray parts. Right? You know,
Nobody's gonna
you're
watch
looking
like
for
a comedy sitcom where people are just casually just eating dinner and nothing's happening. You know.
Except for
They're gonna say,
it's not likely, at least. You know what I mean?
But even those, like,
I just watched a
situations
good
like
movie though.
something
Perkins is in chat.
What's up, Perkins?
The guy who
Who's
got me to do
Perkins?
feedback.
Chris?
Yo.
Everybody's
And
got a
Lily the
question.
artichoke is up in here too. Hello.
The guy
Nice
who's
to meet
not afraid of doxing his full name. That's I love
Yep.
it. That's
you.
why I'm
My
going
my
that
full
route.
name's on YouTube.
Yeah, me too.
Somebody's pointed out to me, and I'm just like, it's gonna be out there eventually someday.
It's got to be. Yeah. I just want to do it slowly. Take it easy.
Yeah.
We already know you, Brandon.
What's the hardest
Everett.
thing about making music using live instruments? Just for me,
My son's
honestly,
name's Everett, by the way.
Everett.
Yeah, I love that name.
That's
That's
sick.
why I named my son him. That's what
The hardest
my-
thing about making music using live instruments is probably for me the comping and making sure that you can get it all put together with it takes multiple takes. That's kind
It
of a bar by
definitely
accident,
does.
but like I'm actually good with it. I've become very comfortable doing that in stream now, and I'm very blessed to have you guys in there hanging out, making it a fun place to be for me while I'm doing comps. So
Definitely.
thank you.
The hardest instrument for me, there's two. One is, which I record all the time,
Drums.
is acoustic guitar.
Oh,
No,
is it?
drums are yeah, drums. I don't know. Some people have it and some people don't, but I love recording drums and I have no issues with.
I've never recorded live drums. That
Yeah,
would be so sick.
I love the way I always get a good drum sound. Maybe just from my perception of it, I love recording drums. But guitar is acoustic guitar, and piano are the two hardest for me. Like they're the two hardest in general. Yeah, for me, because the piano is like every single frequency is in a piano. Like, so it's a very hard and phase and
Yeah, especially those mid range when you have to master those mid range frequencies that are so high. Oh, that's so much cutting. Thank Jod for dynamic EQs.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dynamic EQs are amazing.
You know, those are really just basically a side chain
Compressors.
instrument all in
Yeah,
one.
Yep, just a
It's like
side chain.
Yeah,
EQ.
it's like a side chainer, but a lot more subtle and and precise. I mean, side chaining EQ basically. That's what it is. But
So Soundbites, I don't know if you can answer this question.
probably not.
Well, I want you to have some confidence. Do you think you can answer it?
I probably.
Okay. So
Probably come up with some answer.
by the time, I don't know, say like 3 years from now,
Yeah.
the silver ring, whenever it hit the red door at Home Depot, do you think that the black keys on the piano might stick out more than the drumsticks, or do you think the Christmas ornaments are going to be having to, I just can kind of wonder about this for a while.
confused.
That's why I asked if you could answer the question. I've been trying to mow my lawn for like 3 days, and then my neighbor's just like, "Oh, get your mail." I'm like, "Oh, I'm using a Focusrite 2i4. What do you expect from me?"
What the fuck? What?
I guess you can't answer the question. I think you could.
cannot. I don't even know where it started and where it ended. Like what's
It went in
going
like
on?
5 different directions, yo. I was like, what are you talking about? Hold on.
At Prominent glitched. Prominent went to 1 frame a second and it froze there. He was like,
I literally
I was
sitting there, I was
almost
like,
about to. I was like, what?
"No,
You want
no,
me to pick
dude,
my nose?
see, even
What?
Chris is like, what the hell are you talking about?
What? Yeah.
that's
you
right.
go.
I always
Wait,
keep you
wait,
guys
he gets it.
guessing."
Wait, he gets it. What? Explain to me, Chris. The answer is 3.
The answer is
Okay.
3. That is an opinion that you are having.
That was a
That
tongue
is your
twister.
opinion.
Tongue twister. You carry the 1.
Over.
Oh,
Are we
he's, like,
doing long
explaining
division
the
now?
process.
I hate
Sound
long
bites.
division.
That's all you have to
Yes.
do. Just carry the 1,
Thank you for being on the
Always.
podcast, Doug.
I do
Well, I
appreciate
love-
you,
I love-
Soundbite.
I'd love to have you again. Please plug your
Namaste,
socials.
guys.
Please plug your socials again.
Yes. One time.
Instagram, all them Jones. Please feel free to put them in there and make your last introduction. Then I'll make mine, and then we'll have Prominent close it out.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right, close it. We can't end on a preposition. Sorry.
Never forget. Don't end on prepositions.
Never forget.
Yeah, do not end on prepositions.
Oh my goodness. This was
And
a
if
fun
you'll be
This
on the
was
show
fun as
again,
hell. I would love to do this
if you'll
again.
be on the
This was so
show
fun.
again, I'd be happy to. I'd be
I'll
very
definitely be
for
on.
sure.
Yeah, you got me for life.
All right,
For the people
Look
in the
into
chat,
my
oh,
eyes.
friends, we made it.
Look into my eyes. See what I see.
Yeah, for
Do
the
what I
people.
do. Be what I be. That's
Bars,
a DMX song, by the way, guys.
bars. DMX is amazing. They did that song "Bring Me to Life." Wake me up, so good. Anyway,
Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da.
kidding.
I I will say this though, just for the chat to know, the people that don't know, we do these podcasts every month, once a month, around
Yeah,
towards
it's
like the end
typically
of
last
every
Saturday.
month. Yeah, typical last Saturday of every month. And we always have a different guest. So today was episode 4 featuring Soundbites, of course. And I'm curious to see what guest we're gonna have.
And
for
episode 5 is
You
gonna
guys
be
got to
Soundbites.
get Dan Clancy up in this motherfucker. He's
I don't know
streaming
Dan
right
Clancy.
now.
Is he?
He's the CEO of Twitch.
Is he?
Yeah, he streams. He's a music streamer.
Get the frick. Could you shut?
No, I swear. And he does
send
stream.
the link. Send the
Yeah, I
link
need
to me in Discord.
Oh yeah, he's streaming right now. He's playing Fortnite right now. What this fucking guy, dude? Crazy, dude. Go. Don't you got a job, bro? Like Twitch? Like seriously? No,
Don't
I'm
you
gonna
have a
send you a
job?
link. No, he does music streams and he does streaming together all the time with different streamers. Like even people with like one. I've like seen people with one follower. By the time they ended his stream, they had like 73 followers. So
Yo,
he got people to
is
affiliate.
it DJ Clancy?
Yep, there you go. That's him.
Sick.
That's the guy. That's the
Move.
CEO of Twitch.
I'm gonna check
And I
that
think
channel.
I think he hates me because I ask way too many questions.
Nah, I don't. All right.
No, I'll be like, bro. I asked him like, bro, what kind of interface you got, bro? What kind of...
He said, "Dude, shut up, dude."
Dude.
Pig says, "This is sick, guys. Enjoyed the podcast. Need more every 2 weeks. Eventually, whenever I feel comfortable enough to, whenever Prominent and I feel comfortable enough to where we have a lineup of guests that are well beyond like a year, yeah, we'll do it every 2 weeks.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Hell yeah.
we don't want to
I'm
get
all
too
in there.
ambitious. You want to get burned out or anything like
Yeah,
that.
this
so.
is like a
And
good,
if you
like,
guys
starting
don't mind,
place and stuff.
I'm gonna bring you guys on one day when I get this whole thing going.
Soundbites.
It's
We'll
gonna
have
be
an
great.
IRL
Virgin
stream with
stream.
Soundbites in the
Soundbites,
studio. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Are
Dude,
you
I wish
offering
it
a
would be-
collab screen, a collab stream with me?
Absolutely.
Can you imagine my stream energy with your stream energy?
Oh,
Too
We would
much.
break the platform.
Yeah, through the floor.
Jeez.
We'd be like alien
All right.
blood,
I can't wait for it,
like
dude.
from the movie Aliens.
can't
We'd
wait
just like
for
be acid.
Beautiful, dude. I'm
We'd
stoked.
fall through the floor.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well,
That's-
thanks for being
I
on
know.
the show, dude. I'm so stoked.
Yes, always a pleasure having
For the
you
rest
here.
of you guys, my name.
Comment.
If you guys don't know me, if you new to the show, welcome on in here. My name is Eyes. I'm a music producer. I'm gonna give myself a quick little shout out,
Feel free.
just so you guys can follow me on Twitch if you'd like. If you're new to the show, or oh wait, what the frick?
I don't
Hold
think
on.
I gave Instagram, but
There we go. Feel free to follow me on there if you're interested. My other links are here. Please follow my Spotify. I just put out a song last Friday. We're at over 500 plays. Let's see if we can get it to 1,000.
oh, that's another point. Before we leave, I that for song releases, let me know when yours is, because I feel like when we have a song release, we all got to be in chat and like just literally play the song and keep it on repeat. Like everybody in chat. I've seen so many big streamers do this. Their whole stream is about, can we get to 1,000 songs plays today, and that's the whole stream.
Oh, that's sick.
And I've seen that
That's
like
a
with
good
like
idea.
Sashi Boom. You guys watch Sashi Boom?
So
She
wait, are
does
you
that.
saying come up in one of your streams one of these times when a song releases and
or
announce it?
whatever, whoever's releasing something, like you just like, I see I don't know if you guys heard of Sashi Boom. She's a music streamer out of Denver, and she does this, and I was like inspired again. One of my other inspirations from Twitch is like, holy shit, she just got 1,000 plays in one stream because all of her
What?
chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
I would
that
love
is
to- I would
the
love
way
to
to
have
do it.
that.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah, building
It really is.
communities, baby.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
For the
like,
rest
if you
of it-
guys, like you got likewise, if you guys got something and you got a song release day, like I'll put your fucking song on repeat.
Oh, dude,
The
big
whole,
appreciate-
you know,
thank
like,
you.
hey guys,
Appreciate
blah blah
that.
blah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
Well, thank you, man.
it's
That's
just
actually
got to be
really
well
good.
coordinated, and I'm really bad at the Discord coordination.
Well,
things, so.
my releases are I feel pretty comfortable with my release schedule. So I mean, I'm starting to get a hold on releases now, so I can get marketing done a little bit better for it and everything. So I'm
True.
getting comfortable. So I'll let you know when the window's there a little.
Yeah, absolutely. And
And
Chris, you
speak-
too, by the way.
And speaking of, like, part of that plan release is releasing merch. If you guys check out my Twitch page, there is a merch link. Subs get 10% off. And so
Just
I'm on.
look at the hat he's
Furthermore,
wearing, y'all. Just look at the hat he's wearing. I mean, come on now.
Yep. And look at some previous streams. You get to see the limited merch that's going to be here until February 19th. The blank page single. Yeah, that merch is temporary, but yeah, get it while you can.
An eye shirt with like scratch marks down the chest, but they're eyes.
Oh, that's actually kind of a sick idea. Like
the Monster drink.
Okay, I like that. That's a good idea. Well,
just gimmick the Monster. Just rip off Monster drinks.
That's actually a really good idea. Well, not ripping them off, but like the
kind
logo design. All right. Furthermore, I'm on YouTube, X/Twitter, and I'm on Instagram. Follows, stuff like that on there are much appreciated. And check out the Spotify. The link's in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching the show. I look forward to the next one, and I'll be streaming tomorrow, 5:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, and again, thank you so much, Soundbites, for hanging out with us and just having a great time, just chatting it up with us.
Hell yeah, this was so much fun. I'm gonna go play Monopoly now with my kids.
Yes, you have a great time, man.
Yeah, I'll be over there in like 10 minutes.
Yo, the one on Switch is dope.
Sick.
It really is.
All right,
love you guys. Thank you.
Likewise, dude. Same to you, man. All love.
Yes.
Big preach. Cheers. God bless everybody. Take it easy. I'm out. Thank you for watching this week's episode of the Antiperfectionist Podcast. If you like what you'd seen, go ahead and hit the subscribe icon as well as the like. Possibly even leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of the episode. You can follow me over at twitch.tv/III the artist, as well as my Spotify link, which is in the description. The links for the host and the guest will be in the description below. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching.